Okay. Moses Kuria has just dropped a bombshell. He says that the DP slot should be reserved for Mount Kenya. And out of the 22 cabinet posts, the 40% should go to Mount Kenya. That means that out of the 22 cabinet slots, 7 should be reserved for Mount Kenya. So today we are asking, is that a hard bargain? Is Mount Kenya demanding too much, or that is their democratic right? Is that a hard bargain, or is it one way of pissing off some of the presidential candidates? Why must it be 40%? Why must it be that they need a deputy president slot? Haven't they had enough 15 years of Kenyatta rule, 10 years of Kibaki rule, 10 years of Uhuru's rule, and now they want an automatic deputy president slot? What do you think? Talk to us. Is Moses Kuria speaking for himself, or is he speaking for the larger mountain? As you can see from the cartoon, the mountain is becoming more and more slippery to all presidential candidates. And it appears like each and every presidential candidate is courting the mountain with a likelihood that they will pick a running mate from the mountain. Okay, so how do we navigate this slippery mountain to be able to achieve the political goals? Talk to us. I have just shared the link, so you can join the studio and let's have a conversation over the same. I just pray that this debate doesn't degenerate into tribal animosity. We just soberly debate how do we approach election of 2022 with the stakes so high for the political contenders. Are we able to navigate through the political demands and give Kenya the right leadership? Because if the political demands override the quest for the right leadership in Kenya, then we will be stuck and we will be going round and round the same mountain for many years. So you're welcome to the studio and make your participation meaningful. Yeah, remember, people are watching us across the nation and different parts of the world. So share information that is able to build this nation and not to destroy our nation. Thank you so much. I've seen already a few comments trickling in. Dixon Ambe, he has just said yes. I guess it's yes to the topic that should the slot be reserved for Mount Kenya. So for him, it's just saying yes. PG Games says a hard bargain. Even Uhuru himself could not give them 40%. PG says that 40% is a hard bargain. Okay. Ochi Mukenge says yes, it is too much. Judy Sinto says yes. John Mairi has not put any comments. Okay. Johnson Lemondo says no. Okay, so they should not be necessarily have a reserve of the DP slot. That's according to Johnson. Moses Sablon says Moses Kuria is probably a mole and has a reason to his utterances. But all in all, is big than Kenya. All in all, Kenya is bigger than Mount Kenya. Okay. David Sami says, that is nonsense. Kenya ni yetu wote. For 2 tribes we shall vote Baba in. Tujitoe hiyo minyororo tutawekwa na serikali ya Ruto. Okay, hiyo ni maoni ya Sami. Kasungu anasema wengine wanachukulia Wakenya wengine kama takataka. Waweru Maina anasema a donkey can't climb the mountain, so only a horse can climb. If you see we are demanding too much, just leave us alone. Okay. Waweru anasema if you think they are demanding so much, leave them alone. Go and look for votes elsewhere. Because ukienda Mount Kenya, and if you think their votes matters, also their demands should matter to you. Okay. Lokale Sam anasema okay, I don't like the language he has used, but he talks about we have for 2 tribes. Why high demand? Is it a way to join Rao? Okay. Molel anasema mwambie Ruto mambo. Okay. Elijah anasema Kenya is for all, not for a few. Yeah, guys, if you want me to read your comments, then also make them more acceptable. Don't use strong language because everybody is watching. The language should be fair to all. Okay. I thought no political seat was supposed to be reserved for anyone. It should be free and fair election. That is Mutunga. Chris Maloba says tribal what? Okay. Masahulu anasema how will DP position and 40% CS and the PS help a common hustler of Mount Kenya? What those leaders should demand is for constituency hustler fund be on the basis of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. In that most populated constituency will be allocated more hustlers empowerment fund once Ruto is in office. Okay, so I think Masahulu is agitating for more of issue-based demands rather than position-based demands. Okay, he has a point. Yeah. Kama, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are having a conversation about the mountain, and I see Kama. Maybe Kama means Kamau or something. You may weigh in on the demands. Are you guys comfortable with that demand, or should it be lowered or even made higher? No, the language used is very strong. The language used is very strong. The DP slot is not negotiable. It's a must.
I don't support. Even today, we have that president. He is not helping us. In fact, we are suffering. What is that DP for? Hiyo ni kiti ya mwenye atachaguliwa itakuwa yake na bibi yake na watoto wake. Nothing help there. So I think we should be fair All other are Kenyans. Well, I think even other tribe and other community have elected President Uhuru Kenyatta without any demand. A, a president and a deputy should be a symbol of national unity, not a demand, oh, you must give us this, you must give us that, so that, no, 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 that is unacceptable. At the Mount Kenya, even those greedy leaders who are demanding some slots, some shares. Oh, I think we are given minister. Today we have minister sijui for transport, sijui minister for what. Ametusaidia na nini? Shwari ni kubomolewa manyumba usiku huh? I think Kenya ni yetu yote, mwenye atachaguliwa hata kama that is deputy president. Mombasa is Kenya, anaweza chagua deputy from Mombasa, anaweza chagua deputy from Kisumu, anaweza chagua deputy from Mukabani. We are all Kenyans. That kind of selfishness from politician from Mount Kenya, and I'm sure they want that position. That is why they are making those demand for their own benefit, not for the common mwananchi. And I really pity that president, whether Ruto or Raila, who will occupy that office, the kind of pressure he will have from, oh, we want this, we are not done this. I think at this first century, we should all be Kenyans. Any president, any candidate should be given an opportunity. Mount Kenya sio heaven, ati lazima wapewe sijui deputy. No, we are all Kenyans. We should give those aspirants free choice to choose whom they want to be their running mate, not a lot of demand. See, seven. I think I heard Moses Kuria saying that we should have 7 ministers. 7 ministers, and the rest of the community and Kenyans, are we in heaven? Or I think they are creating some, wanajega wanatengeneza wall kuonyesha we are like sisi Mount Kenya tuko nini so special than another tribe. That is nonsense and don't support that kind of statement. I'm through, I guess.
The position of the deputy president is not negotiable. Commensurate with our votes, 40% of the votes of this country are from Mount Kenya region. So now that you have given, in to other people to see how they can also lead this country, we cannot completely, give up on everything. And that's why we are saying the position of the deputy president is non-negotiable. Second thing, we want to have a share, a proportional, not a favorable, a proportional share of government. So if we have got 22 ministers, 40%, 6 to 7 ministers should come from Mount Kenya region. Now we have got 2-3 ministers. Is that fair? We want 40% of all the PSs to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of parastatus, CEOs and chairmen and board members even, to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of ambassadorial position from Mount Kenya region. That is not a favor we are asking for. That's the minimum we deserve, and that's our right.
It's not a favor, it is our right. What do you think? Mala, what do you think?
Wekesa.
This is very interesting. Is it my time or the other gentleman? I think it is normal. I think it is normal, Wekesa. Thank you, Wekesa. It is normal. And you see, negotiation is allowed in everything. Negotiation, even when your daughter is getting married, you got demand for some of those things. So this is part of the discussion, and it is allowed. Let people talk. It is all about the interest, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong in having that discussion, and it should continue, because even other small tribes, even the smallest tribe in Kenya, they will also come in and say we want and set up their demands. And for me, I think I support this, and it should continue. It doesn't mean that when they say 7 ministers, they will get 7 ministers. Maybe they might, because of the number of tribes in Kenya, we have 42, and finally they will get 3 or 4 or 2. It doesn't mean that they'll get 7. So this is part of the discussion. It is an unhealthy discussion, and it should continue. Thank you.
Okay, my question to you, Mala, is if we open that Pandora's box,
yes,
and we have 40 right now, 45 tribes.
Yes.
If every tribe makes its demands, where will we be?
No, there's going to be some balance at some stage.
At least every tribe says, at least we need a one
there's
post.
going to be some balance, and that's why you are seeing even the small tribe called Akek, where they lost the senator, and they're saying we need. It's only fair that you give you give back our seat. So it's a discussion which should continue, and not only by one tribe but everybody. Let's have that discussion. It is healthy for us. And you see, previously,
is it healthy for you, the team? Okay, for the Hustler Nation, they have been running away from the issue of tribalism. Don't you think it's going to open up the tribal bargain? Because they are actually trying to avoid the tribal bargain issue.
I don't think so.
They are saying we are one team called Hustlers.
I don't think so, because basically they are saying we need fair distribution of position, which is good, and for the Hustler Nation, I'm not seeing anything wrong, because what we need is that equality, and negotiation should continue. It should continue. Even the small tribe called Okiek, they should come in and say we need one minister or one PS or one senator, things like those, and it is healthy.
Okay, Mala says that there's nothing wrong for demanding for the slots. It's a healthy discussion. Let's have a debate over the same. Every other region or tribe should make their demands. Okay, it's called a negotiation table. Let all of them come to the negotiation table, and let's divide the spoils. What do you think? Keep what? Keep Kemoy, Macrae. What do you think? Unmute and unmute first. Is Macrae with us? Unmute and let's hear you. Okay, let me try to unmute you. I think yes, network. Okay. Macrae. Yes, a network problem, even unmuting is a problem. Let's try Ali as we come back to Macrae. Ali, how are you? Ali, unmute first.
Hello.
Yes. Should we say that 40% is the minimum for the mountain? Yeah, we are hearing you. Proceed.
Okay. First of all, it's not supposed for the mountain to be
Oh,
as a dressing for 2022. The leadership of Kenya, that's the presidential leadership of Kenya, are just replacing maybe the tribalism.
Is somebody hearing you?
Can you hear me? Hello.
You have a really poor network. I don't know if it's only me who is not hearing you. Mal, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Hello?
Kindly check.
The guy has a problem.
Yeah, kindly check your net and then check your net first. Let's try someone else. Okay, Ali, try. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Ali?
Nanisikia?
Yeah, proceed.
Okay, vile mimi naona ni hii maneno ya kusema eti lazima tuchukue ama watu wa Central Kenya wa Mount Kenya watoe vice president, hiyo naona si sawa, kwa sababu wanaweza wakatoa mtu ambaye hana policies, ni ile yani ni ile tu siasa, lakini hana maono, hana mwelekeo. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema wanaweza wakachagua kama ni ule tuseme kama ni Ruto ama ni Raila, wanaweza wakaangalia kutoka pande zingine zile, lakini si lazima iwe Mount Kenya, kwa sababu kunaweza kuwa Mount Kenya tu wanaweza akasema wanataka hiyo kiti ya vice president, lakini kukose mtu ana policy ama anaweza akasimama na huyo presidential aspirant, unaona. Kwa hivyo nasema kama ni Raila anaangalia ule mtu anafaa kwa hiyo position, not a must awe kutoka Central Kenya ama Mount Kenya. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio msimamo yangu, lakini hii kusema ni lazima watu wa Central Kenya wapewe, sioni kama hiyo, it's not good.
Ali has brought up an important point. He's saying that it's also good to give presidential candidates room for them to pick their running mates, because it is them who knows someone who will help them even achieve their goal. When we fix them with such the demand, sometimes we make them like robots. They are unable to make decisions. So I think in our demands, we need also to be flexible. Okay. Ali has a point. Yeah, we have lost who? Mala, you had a question? Maybe to Ali. We have lost the other guy.
Hello.
Okay, today we are having challenges with network. Mala.
Something wrong with my network. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Ayakama.
I was asking myself whether even the Uhuru himself has achieved that 40%. If he has not achieved 40%, ni nini unaambia the incoming president any? What we want a president and a deputy who will stabilize the economy. Today angalia kwa gazeti, mafuta imepanda by 7%, paraffin imepanda by 12%. We need agendas, not person. Even we can had to cause even how minister and those deputy president and everybody, but we have people with the proper mind who will drive this economy positively, sio kufinyiria mwananchi ati mtu wetu ako pale. Watu wetu wamejaa huko hadi shida zimejaa kwa Wakenya. Now mambo ya mtu wetu, mambo sijui minister wetu, nothing they are helping us. We want a minister, a national minister, a national deputy president, not a region deputy president. We are perishing in the poverty. And our man, our son, our soil, sijui what is there. Nothing. Our economy is deteriorating. So those petty politics from several selfish people should be stopped. And that kind of negotiation should be stopped. There is nothing about mtu wetu. We want mtu mwenye ataingia pale, economy ikuwe mzuri, bank mwananchi wa kawaida aweze kupata loan, anybody aweze maisha ishuke, soko ya mahindi ipatikane, but not person. I don't believe on that person from mounting or anybody. If a Luya, if a person from coast will be there, the be deputy, at the economy drive, that is the person we want, but not pressurizing the aspirant to take people from certain region. Hiyo kitu napinga kabisa kabisa kabisa, siugi mkono at all. Hatuja benefit at all about those tribal ideology.
Okay. So, what is also your take on the hardline stand? There are people who are forcing candidates. You must be on the ballot. There are those presidential candidates who want to negotiate with others. But they are foot soldiers. The hardliners in their parties are saying, you must be on the ballot. What is your take on that?
On that, what I know, those who are forcing their candidate, they have some interest, and they will gain something. A good example is Malala and Mudavadi. Malala is forcing Mudavadi to be on ballot. In his fresh mind, he know this guy may not win this seat, but Malala will use name of Mudavadi to clinch into gubernatorial seat. We have Akina Karonzo or several people may not make, but beside there are some people who will gain a certain seat because of using that name. Wakionekana around that person watachaguliwa. That is politics interest, hidden interest for sure, and that is why hawataki yani wana force those readers to vie for, not because they will win, but because they want to benefit, and that will have implication on those guys, on those the two aspirant like who Ruto and Raila will have some negative implication, because assume Mudavadi vie for, he will scatter some votes of Raila. So that is, I think that is about some interest. Some politician want to gain something.
Rotich, you're welcome on the platform. Let's begin by this question. My Kenyan Mount Kenya contribution to national GDP is quite closer, and by the same token, they merit a good say in how the same is utilized. There is no better place than the executive that of course includes presidency, the president and the deputy. this is out to be the position until we improve on our democracy and governance. So Gilbert Wachira says that wengi wape. Kuna Swahili saying inasemanga wengi wape. So he says that Mount Kenya are a large community and their contribution to the GDP is high. And so they should have a say in terms of governance of this country. Rotich, what is your take on that, even as you weigh in on the topic?
Yeah, thank you, Mtembe. I think I'm audible now. Is everybody hearing my voice?
Yeah. Yeah, you are audible. Can you proceed? Rotich, you can hear you. Can you proceed? Okay, it seems he still has issues with the network. Who can weigh in on that comment? Ali?
Yes. Hello. Unanisikia?
Yes, we are hearing you. Yeah, you can comment on what Gilbert Wachira has said before we connect back Rotich.
Okay. Venye naweza nikasema ni nichukue mimi kama mtu wa Mount Kenya kwa sababu nimetoka Mount Kenya. Hii kitu ya kusema mtu wetu ni lazima mtu wetu awe deputy, yani hiyo sioni kama ni kweli ama ni sawa, kwa sababu kunaweza kuwa wanasema hivyo lakini hakuna mtu ule anaweza kadeliver kwa Wakenya, si unaona? Kwa hivyo wasiambie mtu kama Ruto ama mtu kama Raila ni lazima achague kule, kwa sababu hiyo ni kwa sababu wanataka tu wenyewe, ni wao wanajitakia makubwa, lakini si watu hao wadogo, unaona? Kwa sababu ni lazima wangefanya waseme okay, tuna huyu, sisi watu wa Mount Kenya tujue kama ndiye ni mzuri na anaangalia watu wale wa chini ama ni nini, unaona? Lakini kusema ni must, no, hapana, mimi hiyo siwezi nikakubaliana na hiyo. Naye jambo ya hii ingine umeuliza kama wale watu wana force aspirant wao wa chama fulani, wanaambia watu wao, tuseme kama ule Marara venye anaambia Musalia Mudavadi lazima asimame. Hiyo naona si mzuri, kwa sababu mtu kama Marara anataka kupanda na hiyo kumtumia kama gazi, lakini pale tunajua mtu kama Musalia Mudavadi not unless awe endorsed hawezi akawa president. Halo, sijui kama mnanisikia?
The concern of Wachira was that these guys contribute high. He's not even talking about leaders. He's talking about the common mwananchi. He says that they are numerous and they contribute high in terms of GDP. So he thinks that they should have a say in the governance of the nation.
Hiyo hawezi wakaweka kama ndiye itakuwa nguzo, kwa sababu hata wakiwa hivyo na waseme hivyo na kukose ule mtu anaweza kuwa na hiyo capability ya kudeliver as a vice president. Sasa yani ni lazima watuambie okay, kama sisi watu wa Mount Kenya tunaweza tukasema ni huyu. Wakisema ni huyu, sasa sisi watu wa Kenya tujue, sisi watu wa kutoka mlima tujue okay, huyu anaweza. Lakini sisi watuambie ama si waambie okay, sisi tunataka second number 2, lakini hawatuambii hiyo number 2 nani. Ni lazima waseme okay, kama ni upande wa ninio wa Tanga waseme Ruto tunataka kumpatia, mfano nichukue kama Kuria. Upande wa Raila waseme okay, tunataka kupatia mtu kama Peter Kenneth. Sasa kati yao wawili tuone ni nani. Lakini wakisema ni hivi ama ni hivi, yani hiyo haina msingi wowote.
Okay, tumekupata. Asante sana. Mala.
Yes, remember I said this is part of the discussion, negotiation, and that is why you're even seeing Raila. The other day was in Western, and I'm sure that is what they discussed. Nobody has told us, apart from the economy, the position, sharing positions. Yesterday was in Masai Land discussing and meeting those Masai people. So that's what they're discussing. Ruto here in current State House, they're also discussing those every day. So this is part of the discussion. It's only that now on Kenya, they have come, their leaders have come out and discussing it openly. I don't see anything wrong with this, and it should continue. Discussion should continue. Economic recovery, sharing of positions, all those things. So there's nothing wrong, and it will continue.
Yeah, there are good discussions, but sometimes they lead to stalemate. For example, when we have that high demand that they should be reserved a DP position, then we go to, there was a position held by women, and they said that the running mate should be a woman. Then another group comes in and says, it is our time. Sometimes those demands to break the stalemate becomes hard. Have you seen the president and the 7 guys going to Mombasa, take tea, they break, they come back, they go for a second meeting, they break, they come back. Sometimes if everybody holds on his guns, the negotiations become very difficult.
You are very right. You see, even when you're negotiating for the dowry, as you demand maybe 800K because your daughter is a graduate, some will demand 500K, but usually they end up paying 50K. So you start from high, and then so it's part of the discussion. I don't see anything wrong, and I don't understand why people are raising concern on this. It should continue.
Okay, I've understood you. Rotich, you are back. Huh? Maybe make your comment before the network disappoints you. You are on mute, huh? Okay, proceed.
Is it okay? Is it clear now?
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, thank you, the entire group, for this invite into this very good group. Now, the issue of, first of all, I will begin about the issue you had actually mentioned earlier of reserving the deputy president's office into the people of Mount Kenya. I think that issue is already, that is a precondition they have actually given. But we were of the opinion that even if it goes to Mount Kenya, it should go to a lady, because one of the preconditions of that particular seat, we wanted a community that will vote first of all as a bloc, and a community that has at least Kikuyu being a community has a lot of wealth in this country. Let's to be precise. So those are the things some of us are trying to understand. The only challenge we have now. Are you hearing me now?
Just
yes,
continue.
continue.
Yeah. The challenge we had is if we say we have a Kikuyu as a deputy president, there will be no difference between the new campaign of 2022 and the old campaign of 2013, because we had a problem during the entry of 2013. Many Kenyans were saying now we 2 consecutive Kikuyu presidents, so it was a challenge, but ICC and other factors brought us together. So we are those kind of things going on here and there. The issue of I'm sorry, I'm saying this so that people can get actually the reflection on the intention of the agitation that is going on now in the central Kenya of the issue of 40%, I will say, or I will use the word shareholding in government. 40% is too high in one community, regardless of the numbers they have and the wealth they have. It's too high, but it is a good conversation as somebody had actually put down there, said it's a good point. It's a good threshold to begin with. It's a good point to sit down and hack you, and we will get into a solution into that. Someone else can contribute also before I proceed.
Okay. Okay. That is okay. So the other person called Oko. Oko says that Oko says in Kenya we need peace and good leadership. Sio matusi kwa matanga ama any function. Actually, anybody supporting that party is not serious. Okay, that is his opinion. Ali, you are back. Ali, yes, you are back. Yeah, finish your comment before the network disappoints you.
Okay. Vile naweza nikasema ni kama ni upande wa tuseme, okay, ile venye naweza nikasema ni sio lazima, point yangu si lazima DP atoke Mlima Kenya. Hiyo ndiye sasa mimi nachangia sana, si lazima. Na kama ni lazima, kwanza upande wa UDA na ikiwa ni pande ya ODM watuambie, kama ni Central, wale watu wa Central watuambie upande wa UDA tunasema ni huyu na upande wa ODM tunasema ni huyu. Sasa sisi watu wa Mlima Kenya tuchague kati ya hao, kwa sababu si watu wote wanaweza wakaderiva. Lakini kwangu naona si lazima, hiyo siasa si nzuri.
Yeah, so I'm asking now that we don't have the BPI, which was opening up the 5 slots so that there is more room for other bargains. If it has to be revolving around, if we lose the presidency, we need the deputy presidency. When will the other people at the lower cadre have a chance to lead this country? How will we achieve that equality such that anybody can have access to power regardless of the size of the tribe you come from? How will we achieve that as a nation? Susan? Finish and then we go to...
Okay, mimi naona kabila wengine hawa makabila, yani kutoka region nyingine sio ya Mlima Kenya, hata wao wapewe chance. Wakati huu watu wa Mlima Kenya tukubali kuongozwa. Watu wa Mlima Kenya tukubali kuongoza, hata kama tuna kura mingi, lakini tukubali kuongozwa. Kwa sababu kitu moja nasema hivi ni kwa sababu tuone kama sahi hatuna presidential aspirant. Wale sasa tunaweza tukasema ni 2 horses. Okay. Sahi tuseme tuwapatie na chance. Watupatie deputy president na president. Sasa tuchaguane. Lakini sasa wangekuwa wamesema waondoe hii ya deputy. Waseme position zingine. Hiyo tunaweza tukasikizana na wao.
Yeah, proceed. It was George. George, kindly don't unmute until you are given chance, so that we have order. Ali, proceed.
Halo.
Ali, continue.
Okay. Okay, venye naweza nikasema, yani maoni yangu ni venye wamekuja wamesema, tumesikia Moses Kuria akitangaza na wengineo, lakini kwa kweli hiyo ni wao wenyewe wanajitafutia, lakini si wale watu wadogo, wale mama boga, wale mabodaboda, wale watu wa ninio. Na ukweli nikisema hivyo, si wale watu, hawaangalii, wao ni post wanataka, lakini si ule mtu atadeliver, si ule mtu ataongoza nchi, si ule mtu ataleta maendeleo. Hiyo hawajaangalia, wanaangalia tu possession, ile tu jina position DP, lakini ni DP maybe hata deriva. Kwa hivyo mimi naweza nikaambia, kama ni ushauri wangu, naweza nikasema ikiwa ni Ruto, ikiwa ni Raila, achague mtu ule wanaweza wakafanya kazi pamoja, angalie ule mtu anaweza wakafanya kazi pamoja na wa deliver na wa build economy na tuwe na amani. Cha muhimu sana ni amani, na mtu na wale watu wanaweza wakashikana na Raila, economy iendelee, kuwe na amani. Kwa sababu sisi watu wa Mlima Kenya, nikiongea nikitoka huko, mimi mtu wa Kiambu, nikisema okay, sisi ile kitu tunataka tu ni peace, ni amani, na kuwe na amani, tuanze biashara zetu, tukienda biashara tunaenda tunarudi ukiwa na amani. Ile tu tunataka, sio hata hiyo position kubwa, kwa sababu kutoka tupatie uhuru, tuwe na uhuru, tumeshakuwa na watu pale mbele, lakini hata ukiangalia umaskini bado huko Mlima Kenya, sio? Kwa hivyo kule mbele kukipatikana na mtu anaweza katuongoza na tufike Canada, sawa, awe rais, awe deputy. Hata mimi naweza nikaulizwa kama saa hii kutoka Mlima Kenya, tusahau pale mbele, DP president asitoke central, yani at least tuongozwe na watu wengine, kwa sababu hata wao wakituongoza bado kuna umaskini, my friend, bado kuna maskini. Kama Raila anaweza kachukua mtu kutoka coast na aendeleze nchi, kama anaweza kachukua mtu kutoka western na nchi iendelee, kama anaweza kachukua huyu mtu wa maendeleo chapchap na nchi iendelee, ni sawa, bora nchi iendelee na uchumi ukue. Sio lazima ati itoke Mount Kenya, hapana. Na nasema hivyo nikiwa nimetoka huko, mimi ni mtu wa Kiambu.
So do you support the call for voting as a block?
Ile
let there be democratic
hapo
voice where people can vote the way they want. Do you want a scattered mountain when they approach 2022, or they approach it as a block?
Hapana, hiyo naye kuvota as a block hapana, kwa sababu tunaweza tukaangalia ule mtu maybe tuangalie pale juu. Hapa naongea nikiwa independent, sio mtu wa tangatanga ama mtu wa ODM. Okay, tunaweza tukaangalia ule running mate wa Ruto atakuwa nani, tunaweza tukaangalia ule running mate wa Raila atakuwa nani. Sasa hapo ndio mahesabu itakuwa, kwa sababu tayari tunajua pande hii ni Raila, pande hii ni Ruto, lakini determining factor ni running mate. Na sasa running mate ndiye atafanya kura za Mount Kenya ziwe sio block ama sio ziwe divided.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. I want now to invite George to weigh in. George, we are having a discussion in the wake of demands that Moses Kuria put forward. I just want to replay. This is a short clip, and then you can weigh in.
Okay, fine.
in to other people to see how they can also lead this country. We cannot completely, give up on everything. And that's why we are saying the position of the deputy president is non-negotiable. Second thing, we want to have a share, a proportional, not a favorable, a proportional share of government. So if we have got 22 ministers, 40%, 6 to 7 ministers should come from Mount Kenya region. Now we have got 2-3 ministers. Is that fair? We want 40% of all the PSs to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of parastatus, CEOs and chairmen and board members even, to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of ambassadorial position from Mount Kenya region. That is not a favor we are asking for. That's the minimum we deserve, and that's our right.
Hello. Hello.
George, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd like to say that the demands by Kuria are outrageous. This Kenya belongs to all of us. They cannot say 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, and they want equity. If they want equity, then everybody wants equity. And the Kikuyus are not 40% of Kenya. So this is really outrageous, because how many years have the Kikuyus led and the other tribes have not been, they have been quiet? Even if you lump the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin together, they do not constitute 40% of Kenya. Wacha wa Kikuyu peke yao. Take the Kikuyus, weka Kalenjin, they still don't constitute 40%, even in GDP. Because I know, even in GDP, Central iko mbali sana. If you look, they're not very far. So this is outrageous. Kenya ni watu wote. This is akin like saying watu wamefanya mtihani, wamepita from all over the nation, alafu unasema university we want 40%. No. How can this is outrageous. Me, I don't believe in that. Whoever is saying or is supporting have to go to facts. And even in the government appointments right now, it is almost over 50% parastatal public service. It is over 50%, or it's about there 50%. What about the rest of Kenyans? What happened in America? America, alichagua Obama, there was no demand. He was from a minority. What about if you have a good president that can lead this Kenya to prosperity? Na anatoka from Iljamus. Hatapewa nafasi because anatoka from maybe 10,000 people population. Ama if their people are capable of having been appointed, they should not be appointed because we have to preserve 50% for so and so. This one is not democracy, and I don't believe in that. Honestly, I don't believe in that. Because
George, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Does this position actually guarantee prosperity for any tribe or any region? Because if at all they have already had 3 presidents and they still feel like there are issues that have not been addressed, do you think the 40% cabinet slots and DP will add any value?
No, they don't.
Is it about time we changed and we said that our demand should be issue-based? Maybe they demand...
Actually, they should be issue-based. They should be... It's a wide, broad thing you have to look into. One, they should be issue-based. Then the competency of an individual, whether he is a Maasai or not, should be taken into consideration. But where there's a Maasai and there are so many other people, sometimes it's good you take a Maasai so that the Maasai community will also feel that they are represented in this government. That's how patriotism is built. But if you say you cannot take the Maasais because we are preserving this according to population or GDP, then Maasais will feel that they're left out of this government. They'll not be patriotic at all. And what you have asked me, it does not add value, because if it added value, they have been there since 1960s. And you see, we from the 60s, we are better off. We are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's time we change this thing. Let's go for competence, and let's be all inclusive. Tunataka kuona hata Wahindi kwa hii serikali, because they're citizens. Mambo kusema, no, this country doesn't belong to any single community. No, it doesn't. And they cannot, people cannot, a community cannot come. I don't think even Kuria is speaking on behalf of the community. No, I don't think so, because that's outrageous. And that blackmail, I mean, Kenyans are not going to go for blackmail. That's my take on this. 1 shilling, 1 vote, 1 shilling, one vote, 1 man, 1 shilling, whatever it is. If they're asking for equity, then the other Kenyans will also ask for equity. Now, if you can say money percentage,
there is an issue that I think this issue of 1 shilling, 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. There was a time it brought political heat, and the pastoral communities were arguing that when you talk about 1 shilling, 1 vote, okay, 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. For them, they were talking about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 kilometer. And
yeah,
they were this was the justification. Huh? For example, you can if somebody from Mandera wants to come to Nairobi to access the same opportunities like somebody traveling from Kiambu to Nairobi.
Services. Let's say services.
Yeah, it's the same services. So you see that the challenge he has to travel from the other place to here is long. Or if you have to do a road, if you have to access, you have to create infrastructure from Mandela to Nairobi, then the cost is much higher than making a road from Nairobi to Kiambu. So should we just stick to 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, or should we balance this thing? Because there are places to travel, you take a lot of time to reach there. And so to make a road to Lodwar, you really need to spend, because even the deranged is not compliant with putting up a road. And so you have to invest a lot to get a good road that connects Nairobi to Lodwar. So we need to broaden this discussion. So weigh in, and then the next person.
It will not, because the roads, the highway roads, and actually the highway roads are not built by the county governments. I think this thing, they looked in a hurry, and they gave the pastoralist community more money so that they can catch up with other Kenyans. But it's not about roads. And most of the services are now being offered at the county level. So what will you be going to do to Nairobi? Most of the jobs are also going to be at county level. So if you're going to Nairobi, it'll be at your own leisure. If you're going to Nairobi, maybe you're chasing maybe a bigger market. Like you can leave Kenya and go and chase market in Congo or Tanzania. That's your own shauri. But I think they were giving them more money so that they can catch up with the rest of Kenyans. But now that everything is at the county, everybody should be given an equal opportunity. 1 vote, 1 shilling. Me, I totally agree with it. Because as they argue, why would you give me 100 million and then I give bursary of 1,000, 1,500, while at the scarcely populated areas, the pastoralist, you give them like that 100 million, and they can take their children, I mean, bursary right from nursery up to university. That one is not giving the person who is in maybe Muranga an equal opportunity. So everybody should be given their own opportunity at the place where they are. And then everything is out of the county government. That's why the BBI wanted to bring 35. Imagine what has happened after the county government was formed, and it was only 15%. What about if it's more than double? Who will want to come to Nairobi? Who will want to go to Nakuru? Jobs will be created within the county. In fact, people will migrate from the urban areas back to the rural. And especially if you have the artisans, wanajenga sofa na kadhalika, maybe they're more experienced, they'll go home and they'll get a better market instead of hanging in town, because anaweza kuwa experience hapa town where the earning is little, where the living is depleted. So afadhali aende kule nyumbani, anaishi kwa shamba yake, anajua jenga nyumba kwa shamba yake, and he'll live a better life.
Okay, but I've noticed in your speech you are talking about will. It's like you are using a future tense. So until that happens, we are not at the same level. And Makiu, if somebody even is sick there in Mandera or what, they spend a lot to access equal facilities we have in areas like Nairobi and whatever. So right now the reality is different. This devolution, we can accept it has done improved areas, but not very much. I still know that in Saboti constituency, Mount Elgon, we still have sick people who access amenities wanapebwa na punda. Still the means of transport is still not well. The infrastructure is not well developed, and there are realities we have to face in this country. Our aspiration is to have devolution had an aspiration to have all counties equal, yes, but right now they haven't catched up. Much of the money that has been even in devolution, some has been embezzled and put on projects that don't necessarily benefit wananchi. So we can't just say that devolution has equalized all of us. No, it has tried, but there's still a long way to go.
I totally agree with you, but you see, giving preservation of 40% of the government jobs and the opportunities does not also get us out of this problem. It cannot. And we cannot. In fact, it will bring animosity. Honestly, it will.
Okay, Jax.
Sawa.
Jax.
Yes, sir. Hi, how are you?
How are you, my brother from the other mother?
I am good, my brother. Good to see you. I today actually entered to be here for a short while, simply because I love the topic, but I hate the sentiments that were given and what really one was trying to bring home. I don't know if it's my time to contribute.
Yeah, you can proceed. Huh?
Now, I want to bring in some facts. According to the current cabinet appointments, we have 8 cabinet secretaries out of 21 actually. So out of 21, only 13 remain, which is almost, we are actually almost half. Now, maybe someone may ask who are they? One, we have James Masharia, is in charge of transport. We have Cecile Karaoke, who is in charge of water and sanitation. We have Joe Moshero in charge of information or ICT. We have Peter Munya in charge of agriculture, livestock, fisheries, and cooperative. We have Margaret Kobia from public service and gender. We have Monica Juma. That case is Kagwanja. She's for defense. We have someone by the name Mutai Kagwe for health, and we have Betty Maina for industrialization. Out of 21, already we have 8.
No. Remove Betty Maina.
Betty Minor, she's what?
She's a Kalenjin.
Oh, the minor is not for Kikuyu. I thought it was for Kikuyu, but it still remains 7 out of 21. So it means for every one cabinet secretary you see, we have one from the mountain. Already that's a representation of a third. Now, Moses Kuria is demanding for more than this. We are asking ourselves, we have 42 tribes in our nation, honestly, for crying out loud. We have Luyas, we have Kisii, we have Mijikendas, we have the Luos, we have the Kalenjins, we have the Ogieks and all. Who represents them? They might be minute or they might be the least in the society, but the constitution favors them not to be discriminated because of the tribe they speak, because of the community they come from. What makes us that since we come from Central, that all the goodies should come to us? And this is just the cabinet secretaries. If I could read those who serve under the PS, those who serve under parastatals, the list even grows huge and bigger. Then I ask myself, honestly, if we take all the lion's share, are we not creating a problem in the future where it shall be all the other tribes against one? The other thing I ask myself, that we are many doesn't mean we should get everything. That we are many, we have always had some of these things to us. For example, we have had the 3 presidents from our region. That is to say, we have tasted the helm. It's time, I would agree with many, that we also allow others to feel the largesse that comes with power and all that is attributed to it. Not that I am creating any tribal assumptions here, but I'm just saying it's not fair for someone in Elwak or someone in Mandera to work very hard in life only to know that they will never amount to something much simply because seats at the top are preserved for the big boys and girls. Seats at the top are only preserved for a certain tribe. I tend to think that if we are allowed to be a nation of democracy, we should be led by leaders out of meritocracy, leaders who have our interest at heart, leaders who not only bring development and take our nation forward, but are statesmen. We don't need to create a crop of leaders who only speak for their tribes. We don't want to create a form of a nation where if your tribe is not represented, you have no space in this country. I tend to think when our forefathers fought, they did not fight for the independence of one part of our country. They did not fight only for example, the mountain region to receive its independence. They fought that the boundaries that signifies and make us be Kenya be independent. And I tend to think the man from the lake region has equal rights like the man in the northern part of Kenya. Why? Because these two, they are served under the same constitution that protects them from all sorts of discrimination. And then again, really, I don't really want to say that simply because we are many, we should get the lion's share and all the favorable appointments should come to us. If you even go back and ask yourself this question, for example, we have the majority leader from the mountain, we have the speaker from the mountain, we have the chief justice from the mountain, we have the head of DCI from the mountain. If I go down and down and down, the mountain has not received the shorthand of great deals from the government or from the state. So let's not be selfish. I tend to think it's time, and I think it's even appropriate that we allow others also to enjoy. We allow others also to feel as if they are part and parcel of our great republic. Our republic is not defined by the number of people who make just one tribe. It's defined by the entirety of our population, by the entirety of our region. We have 47 counties. We don't have, this issue-based politics za regional za kuweka place like Mount Kenya and Luya. That is how we ended up fighting in 2007 because a certain community felt aggrieved. A certain population felt they had received a shorthand in the bargain of national resources. Hence, they demanded their right. They fought for their right. I would wish and I would pray that even our leaders should not be selfish. I would rather they bring and present their issues. I would rather they present the issues facing the mountain. And those issues, as I've said earlier, will not be addressed because someone is president. We have had three, and these three have not addressed all the issues. Hence, I think we should now place the issues more than a person there in front. We should place the issues more than linking it to a president, than linking it to a deputy president, to a cabinet secretary, because as we have seen and tasted, having them in power doesn't really signify that we'll have all our problems sorted. So my take tonight is this: that slot should go to a worthy Kenyan. If it comes from an Ogiek, well and good. If he's able to lead, fine. Really, your tribe should not define if you become a leader or not. So to me, I think Moses Kuria, as much as I support UDA, today he was a letdown, and I feel terrible to even discuss such an issue, because I tend to think we are Kenyans all the time, and our tribe should never ever define us, because when Wekesa is cut and hurt, his blood will bleed red. When Themba feels pain, his pain will not be identified by his tribe. It will be the same pain that that child in Mount Kenya would feel. So let's not make other animals feel as if they are greater or more entitled than others. We are all Kenyans, the marginalized, the pastoralist community. They deserve their place at the table. And that's why I hate when I see such divisions, because this is where we were when we first fell in 2007, or rather, all the crimes we have suffered as a nation, they have been attributed to the marginalization, to the ethnic and ethnic Kakunic form of ideologies. Hence, we are never progressive. We don't think beyond a certain leader. We don't think beyond a certain region. And it's high time, and I call, and this is a clarion call to everyone, that we should not entertain this. A leader should come and serve. A leader should not come and sing the language that you speak. That's my take.
Okay. Thank you, Jex, for that contribution. I just wanted to say something here. I've just displayed part of the Constitution. And it talks about the national executive. That is the chapter 9 of our Constitution.
Exactly.
And it says, part 2 of 130, it says that the composition of the national executive. Finally, the rest mute. You are causing echoes. The rest mute. So I'm saying the composition of the national executive shall reflect the regional and ethnic diversity of the people of Kenya. My thoughts are like this, and you can correct me if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, like Eric, I'm speaking from Machakos. I'm in Machakos. Shouldn't I be happy when someone from Machakos is in government? Should it be like Aluya who should be in government? And yet all my services I'm deriving is from Ukambani. I'm enjoying the air of Ukambani. I'm enjoying the services, the roads of Ukambani. But when the government is being constituted, I want to think like, why hasn't Uhuru or whatever put my Luya man in that government? I think, yeah, there are two words there used, regional and ethnic balance. So I want to say that as much as we say Mount Kenya people are very many, but they don't live in Mount Kenya. Some of them live in Western. So if you live in Bungoma, don't you be happy that somebody has been picked from Bungoma? Must he come from the other side of the mountain? Okay, you can weigh in that, and then we go to the next person.
Okay, sir.
Wekesa, I have a question.
Okay, sir.
To what you have said,
Yes.
Now, in the event that the person that you want to come should come from Machakos, for example, when will that child in Mandela or in Wajir feel as though she belongs? Because by the end of the day, probably it will take forever before one of their own ever clinches that prestigious seat. Should that be the case, that you feel entitled simply because one of your own is up there, or every Kenyan should feel entitled because by the end of the day, they are elected to serve all of us. They are a symbol of national unity, and they should represent the face of Kenya, not the face of a region, not the interest of a particular community or the interest of a particular region. Shouldn't that leader kind of bring out the very best in all the regions of our nation?
Yeah, in fact, we are saying the same things, but in a different way. I'm saying actually, every part of this nation needs to be represented. And when I'm in Mandela, I know we have a leader representing Mandela. It doesn't have to be like he's from my tribe. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Because when I'm in Mandela, I need services from Mandela. I don't need services from Bungoma, honestly. So we only need leadership that can understand the problems of Mandela like that. It doesn't have to be my own tribe. As long as we have a leader in Mandela who is articulating issues of Mandela, I will be very happy. That's my thinking. I think that is the also thinking that was behind that constitution of regional balance, so that every region, that's where we had issues to do with Pwani Sio Kenya. Then when you go to Turkana, they tell us, when you leave Turkana coming to Kitale, they tell you you are going to Kenya, because they believe they are not in Kenya. So having somebody from Turkana there, they believe that akikuja Kenya, sasa akitoka Turkana akuja Kenya, is representing their issues to Kenya. But now the challenge is we put it tribal such that I, Eric, even if I am in Turkana, I feel nice when I hear Uhuru has appointed Aluya, and he will not help anything. Maybe me, as somebody who dwells in Turkana and the challenges that I'm facing in Turkana. That's my point.
Okay, sir. Hello?
Yes, Franco.
Yes, Mr. Okay, sir.
Yeah, Franco, you have a question or a comment?
It's a comment.
Yes.
I thought I would weigh in, but most of what Jake's talked about, I'm in agreement of it. And the only cure to that solution, to that problem is one. The day you'll stop looking at your tribes and you look at each other as Kenyans, all this will be done. But whenever you want to say they should be choosing from my tribe, that means the larger tribe will always take the larger share because they can influence more. But if it is about Kenya, then it shouldn't be based on tribes. And that's why you see the UDA man is saying, avoid tribal kingpins and embrace a unifying factor that takes all Kenyans in one boat, not people forming tribes to come and bargain for power. And when they go and loot whatever they loot, when it's time to take them to court, now they call the tribesmen to tell them that they are against us because we are this. But they stole alone and they want to use the tribe to fight for them. So it's about Kenyans, not tribe.
Because I have a question, I think Franco will answer, or you. My question is this: if for example Kikuyu are the many, the second probably according to the recent statistics was Luya community, right? The third, I don't know if it was Luo. Now, if those top three or even top four decide they want a given percentage, Moses Kuria placed it at 40. Honestly, what remains for the others? For crying out loud.
Jakes, that's what I was saying. That is the injustice I was talking about. Because even now, as you said, Mount Kenya has had 3 presidents because of the numbers. You see? But if it was not about the numbers, but the ideas people put out, it would be a different thing, because there are people who have small numbers but have very intelligent people that can serve this country better. But because they don't have those numbers to take them to that position, they will keep suppressed down there.
Yeah,
a different
and
approach
another
to this
related
issue.
question, Jex, is that when you have a slot like
Just,
president,
can we give a different?
yeah, you have a view. Who is saying? Who is talking?
I think it's Mike.
Mike.
Maybe.
Mike, you want to contribute something?
Yeah, please, a
Or a
quick one.
question? Okay,
Yeah,
proceed.
I want to, with your permissions. Yeah, I've just come in late, but I've tried to look at this issue very soberly. I am from Western, but I want to favor those who are fronting for a bigger share from a different perspective. Let's treat this country as a limited company, which wants to generate a revenue and bring returns, because that's what a country does basically. It generates resources and then distributes. The argument Moses Kuria is putting is treating it as a limited company where shareholders come to the table, and based on their contribution to the economy, they have a vote on the shareholding. Now, shareholders' strength is usually their contribution to the capital injected to the business. So logically, if you look at what they're saying, we'll give it to the Mount Kenya people. 70%, not even 60, 70% of the economy in this country is controlled by them. And they have an interest to make sure that their business interests are very well protected. Even the leaders who fight for power, they fight for their interests more first, then the people second. It's usually not people and then them first. The argument about this other faction that is saying, let us look for national parties, history does not favor them from their practice. In 2013, when the government was formed by 2 big parties, the other party that's saying, let's look for national party, they were given a slot of 50%. And what did they do? They went to the village and recruited their villagemen in CS and parastatals to the exclusion of all other tribes. But today it is convenient to talk of national party because it sounds very, very noble. But when given an opportunity, in 2013, one faction was purely from one region. And it was circulated in the papers. There are colleges, if you go to some colleges like Moi Rifaro, from the vice chancellor to the cleaner and to the watchman are from one tribe. So let's not also be very hypocritical to have your cake and eat it when it suits you. Let us approach this very soberly. That's why I'm even supporting those people saying, let's have a share that is commensurate to our contribution to this country. It is not about politics, it's about contribution to the economy. And if I had a company and I've put in 70%, I would want to have a stake and a voice in it. I cannot be a bystander saying I'm afraid of being called a tribalist. I think to me, the word tribe or region sounds primitive, but when you look at it from a purely commercial eye, it is just it's just logical that I have a stake. The biggest export, other than the biggest export earner in Kenya is other than tourism, is tea and coffee, which comes from the other region, and these are the people who contribute to the national cake. So when they say they run the country, they literally run the country. And we can only be fair to them that they also have a voice in how the country is run. That is my stake.
Mike,
I hope
can I
I'm
ask
not too
you?
radical.
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Can I
please.
ask Mike? Mike, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
So
yes,
are you
please.
suggesting, Mike, are you suggesting that one day when we get oil in Turkana and it brings the billions in Kenya, we should appoint even 20 people from Turkana to be the cabinet because they are bringing almost all, contributing almost half to the GTB. Supposing oil will successfully get oil from Turkana. What are you really suggesting?
Now, I can answer that one quickly. I think when you listen to Moses Kuria, he talked about two things. He talks about the economy and the numbers. For them, the two work very well in their favor. They not only have the biggest economy, but also have the biggest number. For Turkana, it could be the economy, but not the numbers. So whichever way you approach it, it favors them. They have the numbers. So if assuming we remove the tribe and say we shall not consider giving them VP, they'll quietly mobilize and choose whoever they want. They are basically telling you that we have numbers and we can decide who becomes president. So they can even drop the VP and say let's even leave the VP, the DP. Let's go for president. And do you know if they want that, they can do it. Let's also be very logical. If these people look for somebody like Mudavadi, they say we want to give you deputy, and Kabogo or whoever, let's become president. Those two tribes can conspire and get the numbers they want, and that's why Uhuru told us a few months ago that let's remove numbers and also be fair to other tribes and rotate presidency. It was out of request, but not out of democracy. In democracy, you cannot. The numbers will determine, but in morality, you can shelve your strength and allow somebody else to lead, not because you don't have the power, but because you think it's not morally right to be the one controlling everything.
Mike, I love what you're saying and I love your sentiments. But my question is,
somebody was asking a question.
Yes,
so it favors them in two ways. They have the numbers and they have the money. Turkana only have the money. I mean the resource.
Let me ask you, just one moment.
Yes.
Just one moment. Listening to the demands of. There's a question.
Okay, let's
yes,
do
I'm
this.
listening.
Let's do this. Jex, huh?
Yes, sir.
Jex, ask question, then help others ask the question. I'm coming in 15 minutes, kindly.
Though I'm not also equally staying for long, but
yeah, if you are leaving,
yes,
you
I'm
can
listening.
Leave. I'm coming in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Mike, I wanted to ask you.
Let me ask a question to Mike. Mike, I love what you're saying, but let me ask you, if you heard what Moses Kuria is saying, Moses Kuria asks for that if, for example, the cabinet secretaries will be 20, at least a third, not close to more than a third, if he was asking for 7 or 8, should come from his side, or rather from the mountain. According to what I think all these cabinet ministers, when they're appointed, they do, they are appointed to serve the entire nation. If they create policies like Magoha has done, if they create policies like Magoha has done, it won't just affect Mount Kenya, it will affect the entire nation. For example, how CS Matiang'i has served, and I equally want to give it to him. He has done the nation proud. He didn't serve because he was from Kisii community, no. He served because in him, there was leadership in him. That is what it takes to make good policies and to lead the nation to where probably his abilities has enabled him to. Now, if we say that someone should be given an opportunity simply because they come from a given community, is that what you want us to believe tonight, that if you have numbers, then you should be given CSS? Yet these services, when they give, it's not for a region, it's for the entire nation. The deputy president, it really doesn't matter where they come from. By the end of the day, I want to ask
you. Let me answer you quickly.
Okay.
Let me answer you quickly. You are very right on that. But you know, I told you why they are demanding that is because of their interests. And let me now specify those interests. And we need to be very logical. Work in CBD, and let's not be tribal. 70%, other than Asians, 70% of shops are owned by Kikuyus. They need a minister who will facilitate their business to flourish in terms of foreign exchange, in terms of trade, in terms of market, both local and international. So correct, they want a stake of somebody, Mike, of somebody. Because that is, let me just finish. Let me finish because I want to let me finish. I want to give you a very specific scenario. The Minister of Tourism is Balala. He comes from coasts. He understands the dynamics of tourism and even the cultural aspects of tourism, which is predominantly in coast. It's only natural that you don't get let's not be tribal, but let me say it's only natural that you don't get somebody who has been doing good at farming in Mumias to come and manage tourism. You need to get somebody who understands the dynamics of, and that's why, let's say, Balala was given that docket. And the other people who are asking for those slots, they're not asking for slots for the sake of it. I will tell you Mike, something you might not know. They're asking for specific slots. They might Mike, not have told you that.
Let me tell you for free. Let me tell you for free. Let me tell you for free. Despite the Kikuyus are so many of them are doing business in Nairobi, it's because Nairobi, the proximity to where they come from and the products that they have to supply that are in demand. But whoever is saying that they should be looked after more than the others, it's not fair. I'd like a Kisii to come and George. Just a moment. Let me finish. I'd like a Kisii also to try his luck in Nairobi, and they get equal opportunity despite your tribe. Nile kazi yako ndio itakuwa ndio bidii yako ndio, so long as the opportunities are there and fair. Mambo ya Balala kwa Ministry of Tourism is not only in the coast. And don't think that at mtu anapanda Mumias atachukua farmer. No, the people who can do better than Balala. Wamesoma mambo ya tourism better than Balala. So don't say that Balala, because he's in coast, he knows about tourism. No, it's about qualification. Vile umesoma na umeelewa hiyo kazi. It's not about where you are based regionally. You can take a Mluya ambalo unasema wanalima shamba, aweke kwa tourism and can perform better because amesomea hiyo kitu na naelewa. So don't say ati Mluya akitolewa kule hatajua tourism. No. And don't say ati Kikuyu kwa vile wako wengi Kikuyu wanafanya biashara, mambo yao lazima iangaliwe kipengine. Let's have equal opportunity wherever you are. Let the Kikuyu yule iko Busia anafanya biashara apewe equal opportunity kulingana na bidii yake ya kuserve watu kule. Sio ati sasa
I can answer you still on that, George.
Just a minute. Let me answer that guy. 1 minute.
George.
And then I'd like to leave the stage.
Mike, just one moment. Mike, just one moment.
George, when we remove emotion, let me just reply, please. Just a quick one, please.
Just a moment.
George, when we remove emotions from these issues, Mike, we shall see the logic behind certain things. I've had the advantage.
Rotich, go ahead.
Hello.
Let me just respond to that, please.
Yeah, just one moment, Mike. Rotich, go ahead.
Yeah, let me respond to that question. Kwa sababu kunasema watu wa Mount Kenya ni lazima wapewe sijui hiyo deputy president. Naye ati kwa sababu ya kuangalia interest yao na nini na alafu walete maendeleo. Kwani tuko na ugatuzi, tuko na devolved government.
Exactly.
Kwa hivyo hata kuwe na deputy wa kutoka party, hapo maendeleo itakuwa inakuja kwa sababu
there's a problem with the.
Am I audible now?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Rotich.
Yes, I agree in most of the sentiments that said by Mike there, because I happened also to be a director somewhere someday. in the first Jubilee administration for 3.5 years. What George is saying, I think George is not does not understand what Mike says. Politics is about interest. Interest first. You know, you have to understand that. You have to be pragmatic. If your people are business people, wherever they are, and remember, Nairobi is 59.4% of the national GDP. You have to know that. And this 59.4% of the national GDP is owned by the same Kikuyus, So it is the most important thing you should put down first is the interest of your people. Now, another person was arguing and saying they have had Kikuyu presidents, they have had CSs who are very powerful CSs in government, but it does not assist them. But look here, with time, it's like somebody who is going to be a herder of cows wherever, it will trickle down slowly by slowly from top to bottom. But again, you have to remember that there are issues now. It's not a mandatory. It's not the demands of Moses Kuria in this matter are just demands that are supposed to polarize the country for purposes of people coming to vote, and for purposes again for purposes of forcing the Kikuyu community to give their views, because we know historically, we know them, we know how they behave, we had their pattern throughout their life. So it is not new. It is not new. But you have to take the words that Mike has said very seriously. Those words actually are the words that determine a politician from a businessman, or vice versa. Thank you. Go ahead, you.
Rotich, can I ask you a question? What will prevent from kidogo to this one question? What will prevent hii swali ya kumi ya Ruto, kumi ya Uhuru? If we go to another Kikuyu, let's say for example, kumi ya Ruto, kumi ya Moses Kuria, kumi ya Ruto, kumi ya Gachagua, ama ya Waiguru. What do you think will be making this nation become? Honestly, for crying out loud. Because it will be like a seesaw from this part to this other part without ever rotating. And are we not creating a scenario where one community might end up being hated because they would feel as if they are entitled to everything? And other nations or other tribes would feel as though they have been changed. Yet this country belongs to all of us. Don't you think it's high time we stop thinking from such levels?
Now there are two scenarios to answer that particular question. Number one, you have to understand that this is politics. Politics, all elective seats, everybody goes to and for votes wherever they be. That is what actually made the Kenyan government or the constitution of Kenya, so you remember, why the reason why women are nominated into parliament is because they are not in a position to get elective seats, because they're always overtaken by the male counterparts. They are not in. That is why it had to be put into the constitution for them to get seats in parliament. It was not easy for them. Even people with disabilities, they are not in a position to do campaigns. They don't have money. So, but it was forced by the law. It was forced through the law to come to parliament and get represented in there. Another second question, second part of that same thing about the seesaw now, about the seesaw issues. Saying William 10, Uhuru 10, or Kikuyu 10, Kalenjin 10. That is a very direct interpretation of this matter. Number one, you have to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I want you to explain, because it will only mean that at any given time, we just one moment, Rotich. Yes. Just one moment, Rotich, and I don't know why your mic has an issue, but there's this I think you're charging your phone, yeah?
Yes, yes.
That's why. Now, there is this issue that at any given time, you are either the president or the deputy president. Should that only be the definition if you come from Mount Kenya?
Go ahead. Question again. Ask the question.
It's the same question. It's the same question of rotation because we have had 10 of Uhuru, and it's the same man who said that it will have him 10 and then Ruto 10. Now, if we go again to another dispensation where Ruto and another person from the mountain go for another 10 years, what prevents them from even now demanding they want another 10 simply because they supported Ruto or they supported Raila or they supported whoever becomes president, and then waseme wanataka kurudishiwa hata hao mikono? Won't we be where we are at the moment?
Okay.
Jex.
Now, yeah, it is the same thing. It is. I told you. Let me remove the charger. Sorry. Am I clear now?
Not yet. You have to, for it to end, you have to go out and then come back in.
Now, Jex, as Rotich comes.
Yeah.
Jex.
Yes, sir.
Yes, as Rotich comes, I have a concern. I don't want Mike and Rotich to support selfish politics. I don't have to be a Kikuyu to succeed in business in central Kenya. Because we have had people who have left Kenya and have gone to other countries and succeeded in business. It is the business atmosphere in those places that help them prosper. They don't have Kikuyus there or who to talk about their business in those areas. So when you say you have to give them because there are many, that is selfish politics. I can be a Kisii, I can be a Luo and represent all business people in the betterment of their businesses. I don't have to be a Kikuyu to be whatever I'm going to do. Why would you still continue to support those tribal things? It is not fair. It is selfish politics. Actually, what Kuria was saying, I would say, I'm just disappointed. It's not right.
You're not alone, Franco. We are many.
It's not right.
I want to bring you in before I bring Susan. Themba, you there?
Yes, sir.
Now, what's your take on all this?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I want to agree with Mike and Rotich to some extent. What they are telling us is basically what Kuria brought up was a discussion, and he was actually telling us the reality of Kenyan politics. And I think we'll be running away from it if we start castigating him and we forget that actually what he said is actually what Kenya is. Do you want us to listen to that first?
No. Go ahead. It's because we don't have so many videos. I'm just playing it so that it's kind of boring. But go ahead.
Maybe people might want to hear the sound. Some of them maybe did not. You may play it so that we guys can get.
But first finish your submissions.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, Kuria actually gave us the reality of Kenyan politics, and the reality is that people go out there to hunt, so he's going to hunt for his people. The same thing that happened the last time, like someone ably said a while ago, that when it was time for Jubilee to form government, one side of the government, went out and said, we need 50%. They were given, plus the deputy. So Kuria is just simply echoing what was said then, what was done then. So I wouldn't be so fast to castigate Kuria. I would go first of all to say, okay, what is Kuria saying? Kuria is telling us that we are a generally tribal society. He's also telling us that every time a government is going to be formed, each tribe will come with its own demands. And I think that is where we need to start the conversation. Is it wrong what he's saying? It is not wrong what he's saying. That's what democracy is. You know, democracy is an interesting scenario. Winston Churchill said that, you know, democracy is the worst form of government except for all others. That means for as long as we embrace democracy, it will be about numbers and those who control resources. We can talk, we can argue, but at the end of the day, it is about who have the numbers and who are controlling the resources. So we may want to run away from what Kuria is saying, and we may want to castigate him. We may want to say, oh, Kuria is just demanding for this. But at the bottom of our democracy, it is who has the numbers and who controls the resources. When the last time they did that, I mean, see the government that has happened. As much as maybe it is just a few, you know, the oligarchy, the few that own the resources are the ones who are benefiting. Then you know, that's our society.
Then that brings to
let me make the last.
Just a moment, so that you combine it with the submissions. What prevents the other communities rather from uniting and now saying, simply because mnafeel mko wengi, let's see if you can make it on your own, and they all unite, and then Kikuyus be abandoned? Would you still hold your position, sir?
There's nothing. Let me say that there's nothing wrong with uniting for a purpose, because every time, even right now, those people who are supporting you, they are uniting for a purpose. Those who are supporting, in a democracy, people unite for a purpose. So if the purpose is positive and you are able to marshal the numbers to kind of up, you know, to turn back the ruling masses, as long as not as it is not used negatively, you know, not in a negative sense, negative ethnicity, in terms of trying to say that so and so are bad, but trying to use your strength to get into a position of leadership, that's okay. That's a democracy. How democracy work? We need to decide if we want a democratic society or we don't want democracy. Democracy, as it were, it's about numbers. It's about who is controlling the resources, and that is how democracies work. So if you're going to galvanize your support in the basis of numbers, and that's why you're seeing most of the people saying, even the press telling us you're scaling Mount Kenya. Why? Why is Ruto saying that the Mount Kenya? Why are we still saying that even Kenya, the way we are still saying there's Mount Kenya, there's Nyanza, there's Western? Why? It's about the numbers. So if you're able to marshal the numbers, whichever time it comes, and you are able to in a democratic society, bring those numbers to make you get what you need to get you to power, that's okay. That's democracy. However, the other thing that we are talking about in terms of regional and ethnic, do you belong to Mount Kenya simply because you are called Karaoke? You could be a Karaoke who grew up in Kakamega. You were born and bred in Kakamega. So your home is Kakamega. So simply because you have been given an opportunity, and you have been given opportunity in cabinet, and you are called Karaoke, so you all of a sudden become a Mount Kenya guy because you have Karaoke in your name or Morioki in your name. Even when you're going through the list, you're saying so and so is coming from Mount Kenya. You see, it doesn't say this person grew up where. Monica Juma is a Luya married to a Kikuyu. All of a sudden, she's a Kikuyu because she's married to a Kikuyu. So I think even when the Constitution tells us regional and ethnic balance, when it says regional, what does it mean? Is it the region of your birth, the region of where you grew up, or the region where you bought? There are people who have bought land in Western. So this person, simply because he is Motisia and he has land in Siaya, and then he's taken to cabinet, he is not representing Siaya. I was born and brought up in Nairobi. But now maybe I'll be given a name and I'm told that you, because you have this name, you don't come from that side. So I think it's a conversation that is good. We are beginning, what Kuria is bringing out is the essence of our debate. We need to start asking questions. But as a region, when you're going to a negotiating table, you don't go with a weak point. You go with a strong point. We should hear maybe even people from coast coming say we want 40% or we want 50%. We need to hear people from Siaya, I mean Nyanza, also coming and say we want 50%. Then the negotiation begins.
Let us hear all the demands he was bringing. Yeah, I want to bring it again. Eh? Okay, just a moment.
We have agreed, first of all, on the position of the deputy president is not negotiable. Commensurate with our votes, 40% of the votes of this country are from Mount Kenya region. So now that you have given, in to other people to see how they can also lead this country, we cannot completely, give up on everything. And that's why we are saying the position of the deputy president is non-negotiable. Second thing, we want to have a share, a proportional, not a favorable, a proportional share of government. So if we have got 22 ministers, 40%, yeah, 6 to 7 ministers should come from Mount Kenya region. Now we have got 2-3 ministers. Is that fair? We want 40% of all the PSs to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of parastatus, CEOs and chairmen and board members even, to be from Mount Kenya region. We want 40% of ambassadorial position from Mount Kenya region. That is not a favor we are asking for. That's the minimum we deserve, and that's our right.
He speaks of ambassadors.
We have agreed, first of all, on the position of the deputy president is.
Jakes.
Yes, I don't know who's calling me.
Jakes.
That's what I was saying.
Jakes.
Who's calling me? Let me just one moment.
Okay, Temba, finish.
Let me finish. So as you have said, Jakes, in that what he's saying, for me, I really don't have a problem with what Kuria said. When you are going to a negotiating table, you go with as many demands as you want. But now the people whom you're going to, it's a negotiation, So when you go there, that's when now reality sinks also as we have this, right? Now, we did not condemn him. When you're telling him, don't speak, don't say no. We need to have all the other people also who consider that they have their regions also come in on the table and say, okay, fine, even us, we are not giving. Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
You give your demand and say also, I want, let's have every region and every part of Kenya also say we want 50%. All right. Then now from there, the reality now will come on the table and we say, of course, we can't give this. We are able to get this, and in a table where they are going to negotiate. But for me, I don't find, as much as we may say that he's probably giving a face of someone who is not considerate, but that's a Kenyan politics. Who is considerate in Kenyan politics? Kenyan politicians usually go with a selfish reason. So if that is the reality, because we didn't condemn the Jubilee.
Remember, I have a question for you.
The Jubilee party, when it came together, and one side said that we want to demand it for 50%, and they were given, there was no uproar.
Now,
so
why
does it become an uproar right now when he's saying a reality of what is happening right now? So okay, you guys can answer that. You have so many questions. I'm not even finishing my point. Okay.
Exactly. The question is, I don't know if could you be knowing the difference between the largest community, that is the Kikuyu, and the second largest? Would you be having an idea the difference?
Can I also ask and he answers all?
Because
okay, go ahead.
That difference is Honestly, it's not even 40%, for crying out loud. It's not 40% of the entire population. It's not. So we are making it an issue. And by the end of the day, if it is Kuria who is the deputy president, does not mean Anjoroge deep in Mount Narok or in the ranges of Aberdare benefits. That is not true. If it is Moses Kuria who is the deputy president, probably it is him, his wife, and family who benefits. But when we have a good leader, for example, like how, for example, this guy has worked
Is that
so
a
well.
question or a comment?
It's a comment. It's a comment. But the initial question was this: what's the difference between the largest and the second largest in terms of numbers? Does it attribute to the 40%?
You see, okay, let me hear Wekesa and then I put.
I can.
Okay, my question was so Sasingine. Oh, okay, who determines the rules of the game? Because somebody has just come up and said that our tribe is this, so we demand this. Okay, who said that the rules of the game is we are going in the field and demand in terms of tribes? Because there is also another rule of the game where we demand in terms of meritocracy. There's also another rule of the game where we demand in terms of regions and not tribes. So when you highlight one rule of the game and you want it to have 40%, when we introduce these other rules of the game, how do we synchronize that? Now, the second question is, we are having a society as it is. We keep referring to America and others as mature democracy. So the things we keep on popping up, are we showing that we want to mature as a democracy, or we want to be there, the place we were in 1963 going forward?
Okay, number one, I want to let me start with the first one about meritocracy. You know, meritocracy is not necessarily the epitome of the best rule. Meritocracy believes that you are where you are because you deserve to be there. And you know, when you say that, therefore, the people are rich because they deserve to be rich, and those who are poor also equally, meritocracy says that they are poor because they deserve to be poor. So you not have I mean, meritocracy, if you are looking at merit, you deserve to be what you are and where you are. All right. So if you got a position in cabinet, it's because you worked hard to be there. So if you are poor, then you worked hard to be poor. So you are where you are within the social class because of what you deserve. So we cannot have an entirely. Let me finish. Let me finish. The problem with you is you don't want me to finish my thought.
And Google correct, because if I let that slide, it would be wrong.
No, you don't. What does meritocracy mean? Maybe in your view.
Meritocracy, even from the English dictionary, would say it's a government or a holding of power by people selected according to merits. The opposite of meritocracy is what we call kakistocracy.
No. Jakes, you are getting it wrong when you look for opposites. When you're talking specifically about meritocracy, is about earning something. It's because you deserve to be there. So that means, therefore, if you're at a position, you deserve it. That's the social understanding of it. So that means if you are poor, you deserve to be poor. You worked hard to be poor, right? And that's why later in the capitalistic economies, they say if you are poor, it's because you are a loser. You worked hard to be there. In other situations, they say it is unfortunate. That means fortune gets you to a place, and fortune, if you don't get to a place, then it's unfortunate. Fortune did not give you that particular understanding of you. I mean, give you that chance to be there. But anyway, that's a debate for another time. You cannot have an entirely meritocratic society, you know. But when we come back to the debate that we are talking about here, when we say the people, when Moses Kuria is talking and saying that I want 40%, who is Kuria addressing? You know, who is Kuria addressing? When we are talking about, Kuria is mentioning two things: our numbers and our economy. You see? So he's talking about two things that are very important in a democratic society, and the politics is about what? Resources. And they say that your numbers will get you to a certain place. If these other people within the society feel like they want to change, they want to undo the progress or the system the way it is, then they must galvanize themselves within their numbers, right? Now, who is Kuria addressing? Kuria is saying anybody who is coming here must meet the following. So if Kuria is saying that, that cannot be undone by simply talking, because we can talk, we can say he's wrong, but at the end of the day, they'll still galvanize themselves within their numbers, and probably they'll still get what they want. So if you are going to a table, the only way is, okay, fine, who is being addressed? He's saying whoever is coming here must give us this. But are you able to provide that if you're going to negotiate with them? You say, okay, fine, how can we undo that narrative? Go back to the drawing board. Now, development, even in the developed society, as Wekese is trying to say, maybe even when you're coming into developed countries, is just about democracy and numbers. You know, those who have the numbers and those who have the economic resource control the system. The people who don't have are given what now they call the equalization, and maybe they are given affirmative action to make them come up, you know. So that is what happens when you don't have the numbers, you don't have the economic power, you don't have the numbers, so you are given affirmative action to try and make you come up the ladder, you see. So I think the debate that Kuria said, in my view, is good. It shows, it's not a bad thing, because it shows the kind of society we are politically. If we want to change that, then we can only go back and meet it with the same thing, numbers. Start looking at how else can we shape our politics. But as long as it's numbers and economic resource, democracy is just about that. And people approaching them. You know, he knows even before he talked about it. We had already started talking to and saying here, I think 3 or 4 debates here, we had said that anybody who's going to win may have to choose a Mount Kenya deputy. So he's saying the obvious, what everybody has been saying. So you go look for someone else who's probably having a different person, not from Mount Kenya, the numbers will shift.
Demba.
So, yes, sir.
Yes.
You don't just look democracy in terms of Kenya. In Tanzania, we had Magufuli, who was from the smallest tribe. In America, how did Obama become president? If it's about numbers, the blacks are not that many. So
Wekesa.
and that's why I want you to look at
Wekesa.
in a different perspective.
It
applies, it's a different thing from one country to another, from one civilization to another one.
Wekesa.
Maybe I can assist.
I want to answer you in the two. That is Tanzania and the US. Tanzania has a developed party, and the party is Chama cha Mapinduzi. So if you go through the system of Chama cha Mapinduzi and now you are elected, you are already nominated as the president, they have a kind of loyalty to the party. So they will elect you. It doesn't matter which tribe you come from. They have a developed party system. And that's why I was saying, if we had developed like maybe Tanzania to the extent that we have Jubilee as a party, NASA as a party, it wouldn't matter who becomes the presidential candidate for Jubilee. You can even come from the smallest tribe, but if they have that loyalty to the party, you'll be elected. Now, the US, Obama, when he was coming initially, you remember there was preference for Hillary Clinton. But as he went on, he brought these great numbers in terms of youths. So the youth, the Hispanics were supporting him. You know, there was a cross-board of support. So those are the numbers that brought him. So politics and democracy, as it is,
now you are answering yourself. You are answering yourself. The numbers changed from white to youth. It's the demography changed. and that demographic can change in Kenya. We were talking about black and white, and then you said he brought in more youths. Now those youths were both black and white. Huh? So that means he changed the voting demography. And in Kenya, we can also talk about Kikuyus and others, but we can also change the way Ruto has changed and talk about Hustler Nation, so that you neutralize whatever you call Kikuyu or Kalenjin, whatever. You are answering yourself actually.
No, what you seem to be bringing it as if you didn't understand where I said you didn't get my point at some point. I said that what Kuria has brought in is good for debate. If we want to change it, then we need to look at democracy now, because they do have the numbers as at now and the economic resource. So if we are going to beat that, if we are going to have a debate that's going to go past that, then you can come in and galvanize the numbers. Even if, like Jake said, asked, what if all these other people come together and they decide that now we want to upstate this one? For me, that will be good, as long as it's not negative. It's not a negative thing. That's democracy. Democracy is about numbers. So if your numbers are going to make you get to power, that's okay. So it is not wrong. And we are in agreement for as long as you're saying, if you can marshal the numbers, whatever narrative you're going to use, as long as it's not negative ethnicity, you're not going to say that, okay, fine, we are taking them off simply because they are Kikuyus. No, we are going to have our numbers so that it can get us to power. That's okay, But if we think that now condemning him for saying what he said is a wrong thing, I don't think that's right. Number two, I talked about regions. Simply because Roger, simply because you are Wekesa.
We don't have a problem with the numbers.
Roger Wekesa.
The problem was in the argument. Wekesa. He said it is unnegotiable.
No,
you see, now that is where.
But that's how people go to. You don't go to a negotiating table saying that this is negotiable. When you're going to a table, you're saying this is unnegotiable. But once you get there, you realize there are things you have to negotiate. There's nobody. Whom is he addressing, for example? Is he addressing Raila? Is he addressing Kenyans? Is he addressing Kalonzo? Whom is he addressing? He's just saying a statement out there.
I can neutralize that if you allow me. Okay, sir. What we are agonizing to explain is, and I think I agree with my brother, somebody has come with a proposition, and the proposition is that we have numbers and we have resources. So what my brother is trying to say, besides numbers and resources, what other proposition can these other parties come up with that are more attractive to the electorate, that they will buy in, besides just tribe and resources? If there comes up such a proposition that is more attractive than tribe and resources, then Kenyans will choose. But so far, the one that looks very viable and attractive is tribe and resources. And the other option that has been brought on the table is hustler, that is youth and the people of low income. That's another proposition. Somebody asked, why is it that these other groups, like the lawyers, have not galvanized to also say we have numbers? Now, it is you cannot refuse to ask for your share because somebody else is too lazy to ask for his. If the lawyers are the second largest, for instance, and they have numbers, and they have not seen it fit to use their numbers, you cannot condemn the Kikuyus for finding it useful to use the numbers as their bargaining. So don't demonize Kikuyus for knowing the strength they have, because other people don't know the strength they have.
We haven't demonized the tribe. We look at it this way. We said that there are different rules of the game. This guy is using the tribal. Somebody else, maybe Mudavadi, is using meritocracy, and he also has a right to use the meritocracy. Somebody else is using, you see, like Raila is approaching it from a united front. He's saying now he's bringing many other tribes because maybe he thinks he's standing for smaller tribes, but when they come together, many, they form a bigger share. So for him, he's approaching on a united front. So the truth is those approaches sometimes are antagonizing. So that's why we must challenge it, because what you stand for may not necessarily be what I stand for. And so we are challenging the narrative because Kuria's narrative favors the big tribes. Raila's narrative favors the small tribes because he talks about Azimio la Umoja. He must amalgamate many to come together to bargain together. So you have to challenge it. You don't just, the same way you have said that Kuria was negotiating, we are also negotiating. And our approach is different. So we cannot just take it and say that is the gospel truth according to Kuria. We challenge it because we don't believe in that. We believe in a different approach to the same table of negotiation. Thank you.
Okay. But Wekesa, you haven't even said something. It's okay to have a different perspective. It's about, and even what Mike has said, do you believe in the strength of your number? You see, when you're going to a negotiating table, you don't go from a weak perspective. You go from a strong perspective. And what Kuria is saying, what Kuria,
I have said,
no, wait.
You haven't understood me.
No,
I have said,
Wekesa, wait.
Yes.
It's okay to listen. You see, what Kuria is coming up with, Kuria is saying, anytime you're moving to any kind of negotiation, you don't go from a weak perspective. He's giving his form. It is disturbing the whatever, the norm. It is disturbing, but for me, we are picking, that's the nature of our society. Let's go back. When during the 2007-2008 post-election violence, there was negotiation that was taking place. If you can remember the demands that were taking place at that time, there were numerous meetings that were taking place. Each side had demands. You know, arrival at a particular conclusion requires that the negotiation goes on. Then you say, okay, fine, this one is the most realistic for all of us. So what Kuria has brought in is, okay, we are coming with this. We must be given this. We must be given this. We need, like Mike is saying, someone from Western also saying that because of our numbers, because of this and this, we need 40%. We need 50%. Someone who should come from coast. You don't blame someone who is speaking because you are quiet.
I've said you don't use, I have said, and that's where you're not getting them. That is game plan for Kuria. But we are saying the game plan for the team handshake, maybe Kina Raila, they are using Azimio as the negotiation approach. They are saying, I can pull together this group and then negotiate. And that's why when they went, you see, they went to Mombasa with Uhuru, they never, negotiation failed. They went again. So what they did is they allowed themselves to go in the field. Come with your numbers. And when you come to the numbers, let's negotiate. So Raila has done how many meetings? And that meetings is declaring that I have the numbers. And his numbers is not just the Luos. He's seeing the he's telling them that I have the numbers in Luya. I have the numbers in Masai. I have the numbers in the coast. Now, when he comes on the negotiation table, he says, I am a big brother in the room because I can galvanize more numbers than you other guys. So I am agreeing what you are saying. Moses Kuria is appealing on a particular group of people as the numbers. But the appeal of Raila for numbers is completely different. But again, it also speaks on the numbers. So numbers must not necessarily be tribal. They can also be about agenda. There are people who can agree together. And that's why Raila has been having so many people voting for him. And he doesn't come from the biggest tribe. So numbers can be looked at it from different way. And that is also what Ruto is saying. Ruto is saying But my numbers are not just Kalenjin. I have numbers called Hustler Nation. So as long as I can appeal to those numbers and they make sense, and they also challenge the narrative of Kuria. Kuria may say that we have numbers for Mount Kenya, but there are those who will say our numbers have been converted into a hustler nation. We are for the hustler. So whatever you tell us, we will not agree with you. So that's how numbers change, my friend. They are not stagnant in one way of...
So you see, Wakesa, what you're saying is actually what we are trying to say here. I mean, at least you're coming down to what you're saying. What you do is you give a counter narrative. You know, now the other people players now are coming to give counter narrative. Okay, fine. If they are galvanizing using their tribe, they are right to do that, because as it is right now, what Kuria said, whoever is going to come, right? Now, number one, the hustler guy has said that he's not going to negotiate with the tribal parties, all right? But now him is like a lady who is out there. I mean, if you have this and this money, you know, you can't blame a lady for putting certain demands for you to marry her. If she says that you must drive a range to marry me, you can't blame her. Let those people who have range go to her.
Maybe
So
I can help.
what we are trying to say is you come with like what you're saying. I like the final part that you're saying. The other people also are giving their demands using the same thing, numbers, but also using different ways of trying to say we have the numbers. I don't think Kuria is wrong. He's saying
No, I'm saying
what we are.
if you don't
Right?
belong, I'm saying if you don't belong to his school of thought, part of your negotiation is countering what he's saying, by the way. We are countering because we are negotiating it differently. We don't want our numbers to go. That is part of negotiation. I don't know what you understand by negotiation. Negotiation is not necessarily just counting that we are supposed to be given 40%, now we can be given 20%. We can also negotiate in terms of challenging your narrative.
Themba, I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead. There's a question there for me before I bring in Bernard.
Sorry, I was late, but from the description of the topic I'm seeing here, I'm seeing today we're discussing the 40% slot, cabinet slot that Kuria wants from Ruto, if any case Ruto takes power. So my question is, this 40%, of course itakuwa imebaki 60%, which the remaining communities, according to Kuria, must share. So after giving Kikuyus 40%, okay, will Ruto be in a position to accept this offer? Because if he accepts it, basically tutajua Ruto is sorry, leo sijui words zinapotea wapi. Ruto is accepting it because he wants Mount Kenya's votes, but he doesn't want to lead the country well. 40% slots for Mount Kenya, I think that is a wrong idea. We should if it kama hata kama ni Ruto ndiye ameichukua, I think we should share this thing equally. Wakost wapate moja, like hata kama ni mbili, let Luos get theirs share, or Kalenjins get their share, but Wakikuyu Wakiku's getting 40%. I think it's a very big demand for Ruto, and Ruto, I think Ruto won't accept it. Then again, on the same topic, when you talk about cabinet slots, we know what the cabinet looked back in 2013 when Jubilee took over power. We saw I don't know, it's a mockery for Ruto, I don't know, but we saw how the choice that Ruto made for Ruto to pick. We saw the slots. So I think Ruto is not a man that will accept this 40% at any cost. Ruto wants his people to be there. Ruto will be a person who will rule the country with his people.
And I think most of these people we saw back in 2013 and 2017. And I think this is the problem between him and Uhuru. Because you look at the cabinet slots that Ruto is giving out, it favors more of his people who are Kalenjins. So 40% for Ruto to accept, I don't think
Well,
so.
those are speculations.
Maybe if I may ask, I don't know whether you've been given. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why, as a country, why is it so important for? And that's a question we should be asking to address this animal in the house. Why is it so important for my tribesman to be, one, the president, and two, to be a cabinet secretary, or to be the parastatals, or to be an ambassador? I think if we address that, then we shall see why we should not be fighting for tribal people to be in certain offices. Because if as a country, we are very comfortable to a Maasai being a president, it means that regardless of who is in the office, our interests are taken care of. If we address that, then I think as a country, even the campaigns of being president will not be a matter of life and death. But now there is something that we must address that makes people spend 10 billion to campaign for presidency, and make sick people be taken from hospital to go and vote at 3 a.m. for their tribesmen to be elected. What is that thing that makes us Kenyans really die for our tribesmen? I remember in the UK there was a lady, we have even forgotten her, before Boris took over, when the exit from the exit from the European community, the British came out from the European community. The person who championed it even bowed down from being prime minister. For them, it's not a matter of life and death. There's a lady who came and stayed in office for 3 years and resigned. And that's a prime minister of a superpower. It is not that attractive, because you might even go into that office and come out poorer than you went in. Obama is now making more money selling books than he was when he was a president. In Kenya, there must be something that we need to address that makes fighting for power so attractive that people kill each other, people spend 10, 20 billion to campaign, and their tribesmen are willing to kill and die for their man. If we address that, then we shall make this discussion we are having, our region, our tribe, not become so attractive. One of the things this constitution, the 2010 and the BPI, was almost going to address is taking resources to regions, to counties. If resources are, let's say, 40% of our national budget or revenue is taken to the counties, and certain powers are trimmed from the presidents, and which the 2010 constitution tried to do. Like now, a president can appoint somebody, and then they go to the committee of parliament, and it tells them this person is not suitable. Some of those things, if they're done, and the powers of the president is trimmed, and the money is taken to counties where governors make development and all other things, because it's about, I think this was about fighting for resources and what the president can do. During Moi's days, if you wanted a road, you had to be in Kanu. Nyeri, as big as it is, before the Kanu times, there was no tarmac road inside Nyeri town, because the people were not in Kanu, they were in opposition. Kibaki had just gone to opposition. So if, regardless of who is in power, you have development in your region, we shall not be agonizing on who becomes president. If I'm guaranteed that in Western, the sugar factory will pick up, regardless of whether it is Ruto, Raila, or Mudavadi is president, the president just becomes a commander-in-chief, and his role is to attend funerals and inaugurations of incoming and dying presidents. And then we shall not be fighting over these offices. I think we need to change the angle to why do we fight for this seat so much? Then we shall have addressed the issue.
Okay, thank you for that. And I think, Bernard, I want to bring you in. And as Neta said, maybe as I bring Bernard, I want to say, welcome also, Omoke Dennis. I want to say that it's what Kuria has done. You know, when you get a headache, you don't blame the headache. You go back down and start diagnosing why are you having a headache. Headache is a symptom of a problem, right? So when the headache highlights the problem, we don't start saying the headache should not have come, you know. So it is a symptom of what we are as a society, you know. And someone was saying, I think, is it Nets who was saying that he was addressing Ruto? No, he hasn't addressed Ruto, you know. He has the thing that he's saying Moses Kuria shocks Ruto, you know, that's to make you excited. Those are what we call in social media clickbaits. It's something that he has not addressed anyone. He has just said anyone who is coming to Mount Kenya must do A, B, C, D. And even Mount Kenya itself has not sent him, you know. So it is basically a symptom of where we are politically. So what we need to do is, if you want to change it, you don't necessarily condemn him. You pick it, and then also to counter, come up with another narrative, come up with another, like someone was saying, there's like Azimio la Umoja that Raila is doing. There's Okoa also. Kalonzo Musyoka was looking for Governor Waiguru today, and several other things. So those way, as time goes by, you can make voters start thinking differently on what what Mike is saying about politics and tribalism. There's a lot of premium that has been put in positions, and we believe that maybe if someone gets to a certain position, they are going to benefit us directly, in spite of us passing it within the law that we have devolved governments that are supposed to bring development at the grassroots level. We are still stuck. It's called a fixation. We are fixated to the idea that if my own person or someone who is not having a name like mine is not at the top, like for example, Bernard can be called Bernard Wafula, but he has basically grown up in Machakos. He doesn't know anything about Bungoma. But as long as Bernard Wafula is there, and there's a Mutisia who has grown up in Bungoma like me, I will attach myself more to Bernard Wafula than a Mutisia who was grown up, was born and bred where I stay. So you see, there's that fixation in our minds, which means that we have still a lot conversations to go on as a people, to sanitize our politics, to start thinking in the way that it's not about your tribe, it's about your ability to deliver, and it's not about an individual, it's about the systems that we create. You know, if we have good systems, we will not start relying on individuals, because some of the things we are being told that they're going to bring us roads are, we have Kera roads, we have Kura roads, we have urban roads which are made by the Kenyan whatever highway authority, and you know, the other one. So you see, we demand them in spite of who is there. So when you have systems that are working, we'll not put a lot of premise on individuals. It doesn't matter who comes there, whether it is an Omondi, Karaoke, or who, we are going to get what we need in spite of the person. But before we get there, this conversation is good for us.
The last question. The
okay,
last
go
question
ahead.
Before you go to the next person. Huh? Now, the reason why I'm skeptical with what Kuria is saying, because I know what it will bring in the future. Okay, supposing we give in on the demands of 40-40 up to parastatals. You know, the moment there is a new government in place, the first thing is there are already people in place and the dynamics are different. Maybe the previous government, the way they selected people and put in parastatals are different. So the moment you want to implement the 40%, unasikia wanasema our people are being targeted because you have to remove this tribe and fix this, because this tribe is demanding 40%. Now you have to remove this one and fix this one. It becomes a very it looks at a Jewish narrative, but very dangerous one. I would rather it look like a meritocracy. Okay, and then without even those numbers, so that it can just be balanced. Okay, I've finished my submission.
Okay, thanks. And I've seen someone else who's joined us. That is, what's the name there, Bernard? I can't see it well.
Is it Eric?
Eric?
So, oh, there is
I'm
Eric.
waiting for
There
I'm
is
waiting for Mokwe to make his comment.
Oh, it's Eric.
So,
Okay. Okay, fine. We agree. We agree, Wekesa. In a society where you will consider more the content of the character and the ability of someone to deliver within certain positions, as opposed to the first or the second letter of your name, that is an ideal society. But the nature of politics is in such a way that we move to those places slowly. So maybe as we keep moving, as we keep having this discussion, some kind of conversations will be considered to be null and void as we move on. You'll try to bring it up, but because the society will have been organized in a certain way as things go on, it will not make sense. You know, you can't, in a society, you can't rush its movement to a particular place. It's allowed to
thereby you're
keep.
holding brief for something that we are walking away from.
Let me finish, then I bring you in. I know you are eating. You are eating.
Where we have been.
Wait.
Where we want to go.
Themba, can I say something?
Kuria and the sentiments.
Bernard, wait. I want to bring you in, and you moderate. I know. So,
no, I'm coming to fight, then I go.
So I hold that societies are not rushed; they move slowly, and that is the nature of the way societies evolve. You know, so when he comes and gives us that, he's telling us what we are, right? So the only way to do that is for us to come up and the society to chart its path by creating an alternative way of thinking, right? That will now get that out. But as long as we are still there, and we are there right now, even look at communities, how do they negotiate? Look at counties, how do they negotiate? They negotiate by saying, we are the biggest clan. You guys are not this clan. This clan must be given this. I see that even in counties. Your clan gave the governor. Now this time is our clan. So he's just saying what we are as a society. All right. But I think it's good for debate. I want to bring in Bernard to come in. There'll be Bernard, and then we'll have Dennis, and then we'll have Eric. So Bernard, go on.
Themba,
Go ahead. Wait, let me bring Bernard, because I know he's been itching to go ahead, Bernard.
Thank you, Themba. Thank you, everyone. I'm grateful for the privilege again to be here. And straight to Moses Kuria's sentiments. One, he was addressing DP Ruto. That is no doubt. And why is that clear? Because of the 2013 script, 2013 template of how the first Jubilee government was shared 50-50. So what Moses Kuria is saying is just giving us what was agreed then, or rather the demands that the DP gave them then. They are now returning it back to him. And if he's interested in our vote, then he has to be able to deliver this and that. In my opinion, is that the way to go? Is a sorry state of affairs, but I wouldn't want us to go there anymore, just for the very reason that the 10 years we have had the Jubilee government that was shared 50-50, how better have we become as a country? How much progress have we made? How much suffering have we reduced? I think it has only multiplied. And so when somebody goes to the national platform and begins to talk the way Kuria is talking, as much as he's painting the picture of the current state of our society, there are some norms that are not that are supposed to be appreciated. My first thing I would want to address myself to is where does that mentality come from? The mentality comes from when the position in government were initially meant to be service providing position, but it has been over time turned into eating opportunities and sharing of cake opportunities. So it is not get me into office so that I serve the nation, it's get me into office so that I provide you what is eaten there so that you can also eat. Now, when we carry that as a mentality, which dates back in the 70s, when it is rumored that Jomo Kenyatta said, nimewashikia ng'ombe pembe, mjitahidi kukamua. So the country has been reduced to be a cow to be milked. And everybody fights for the presidency so that he can hold the horns of the cow, and then his tribesmen can go and milk the cow. And how well has it worked? Has it helped this country? I don't think so. And so on a national platform, the least I would want and demand is that let's talk holistically as Kenyans. If you're talking of 40% for your region, as much as you claim to have the numbers, okay, how does those numbers translate into the national ratio? If let's say every Mount Kenyan gets 40% of the national cake, will the remaining 60% be sufficient for the rest? If you want to divide the wealth of this country and you are only considering your backyard, yet you want to preside over the entire nation, then that places a question mark on your capacity to carry this nation forward. So we must, as a people, begin to appreciate that we can't go back to where we have come from. The fights and the conflicts of the Kenyan presidency and the Kenyan leadership springs from our pushing for tribal interest at the expense of a nation, whereby we all forget about a nation called Kenya. We retrieve back into our tribes and everybody begin to speak from that premise whereby how much is my tribesmen going to get? Like he's talking about 40% ambassadorial appointments, 40% cabinet slots, 40% of national resources. I think that is not what will help Kenya, especially in the light of where we are. We are in a crisis right now. The economy is bad. The political situation is not favorable. Everything is going south. So if we allow ourselves to go that way, I am sure that we are digging ourselves further into a hole that we may never come out of. So as much as Moses Kuria is entitled to what he's saying, and probably he may be, putting his foot forward for his negotiation, in my opinion, that is the wrong way to go. It worked in 2013. It survived in 2017. If we allow it in 2022, we should just forget about this country once and for all and begin to look for another way of going about life. Because they're like what Jakes asked, okay? What if the other tribes now come together and say now that you have always had this and you have always had your way, but now we are coming together like what was being agitated. We divorce, okay? We divorce, we go away. You remain with your numbers and with your resources. We go with our little resources because the control of resources, as much as you may be in control of those resources, our own little contribution also makes that your resources stick. So you cannot be belittling our resources, yet you want to be presiding over them, and you still want us to sit pretty and say, it's okay, you have the numbers, let us submit to the numbers because democracy is about numbers. No, we cannot go that way. Let us accept, if we want a national seat, we go in with a nationalist mind, whereby it doesn't matter whether it's a Kuria who is the president or who is the minister for education or minister for health. Every Kenyan's health must be taken care of. Every child who is a Kenyan his education must be quality and must be top layer because he or she is a Kenyan. And so if we don't have people who are thinking that way, then they should stay out of national office. And that's why we have appreciation of the county government, okay? There are counties that are only one tribe. There's no problem. Go and look for an MCA seat. Then discuss tribal issues in the county, because that is a demography of your people. You can preside over that and push the agenda of your village. But if it's national office, the least we can ask for is a nationalist mind, whereby I am in the office, I have 1 cup of tea to share with every Kenyan, and make sure that each and every Kenyan has tasted that cup. Not when the cup is 1, you slash 40% for your tradesmen. Then you call the rest of Kenya and say, tuendelee, hiyo ndio maendeleo. That is not how we need this country to go forward. And so I think Moses Kuria is deliberately dragging us back to the state where we're in, whereby, and somebody said Ruto cannot fall for that. Ruto has no choice on that one, okay? In fact, that is what his agenda is, okay? If he can galvanize 2 tribes that can give him the presidency, he's good to go. To the best of my analysis and best of my understanding of his way of politics, I don't think he has any interest for nationalhood or uniting of the rest of the country. His way is which horse can I use to get to State House? As soon as that has been done, he's well fixed. Everything is all right. But we need to guard ourselves against that. It is important because the nation needs to be weaned out of that adolescent, like what Themba is saying. Yes, the changes may not come suddenly. We may not anticipate them to come overnight, but for 60 years of independence, we are still tolerating that kind of leadership. I think it's getting late in the day, because now it is not just our children, it's now our children's children, okay, that will be going for each other's neck for what our grandfathers did not address. We cannot afford to transfer that to the children and our children's children. So I think we need to lift the bar a little higher and begin to say it is not for our tribes people, it is for Kenya. And each and every Kenyan, from the coast to the horn up there in Somalia, let it be known that every Kenyan life matter, and that Kenyan needs to be taken care of by his government. So kama unaona ni ngumu kulisha kila Mkenya, basi usiingie kwa ofisi ambayo inahitaji wewe kulisha kila Mkenya. Nenda kwa ofisi ambayo ni ya kijiji, okay? Kule kwenu, lisha kijiji chako, furahia kulisha kijiji chako. Lakini kama ni Kenya, basi lazima ukubali kubeba huo mzigo wa kulisha kila Mkenya. That every Kenyan who is going to bed without food should be your concern. Every Kenyan who is seeking health care and is not finding it, it should be your concern. And not 40% of my region and 60% for the rest of the country. That's a recipe for trouble. And from the further we have been pushed so far, the literatory is bound to happen. And I think this time it may not have a callback whistle. So it is important that we guard against that, as much as we would want to dismiss that as a political statement. it is, I think it's part of the things that are disturbing the president, and the president would want to walk away from that as far as possible from his latest way of operation. He may have fallen for that in the past, but I don't think he wants that. Everybody who is in his right mind and is a Kenyan, he wants Kenya united, Kenya one, whereby it doesn't matter who becomes president. And if there is any way of making that happen, like by the 2022 elections, we come up with a government of national unity, and this government of national unity deals with all the ills that have been bedeviling this country once and for all, the historical injustices. Then we set up an electoral system that will let the person who wins the election becomes the president, regardless of where he comes from. If we can get all this secured, we'll have a more united and secure country that can now work towards the future, other than us having to go through a cycle of, we settle, we do ceasefire, then we go for another election, then we seek another ceasefire, then we go for another election. I think this has to come to an end. And for it to come to an end, we should not entertain that aspect of we have numbers. We are lawyers, we have numbers too. But we would rather do what is right for Kenya than do what is right for our own son. Okay, he's of age, yes. He can be a president, yes. But has he demonstrated it? Okay, he's demonstrating it how? Okay, when he has demonstrated, how does he match with the rest of the people in the dance or in the player? It doesn't matter how good you are as a good-hearted coach. You will not carry anybody to the football pitch to play simply because he's your son or simply because he's from your village. If he cannot match the national league, he plays the village league. So let us, I urge all of you Kenyans, let's wake up and realize that we cannot entertain that line of thought whereby Kenya is there for grab and everybody's now saying, I want this percentage and that percentage. Let's first of all look for leadership, and this leadership should be solving Kenyan problem, not digging us further into more problems. I think I should end there. Kama kuna swali muulize.
You see, Bernard, what you have said is very good, and it's an ideal situation. It's indeed ideal that we view Kenya in the prism of what you've said. And we hope that at some point, and in due course, hope we reach there faster than we thought. How can we get there? When you develop very strong parties, two strong parties, then we are likely to move towards that direction. The reality as at now is that we do not have the only party that at least has stood the test of time, at least up to right now, and is strong, is ODM. And we are hoping that in future you'll have two strong parties. Now, when there's democracy within party, then we can get to a point where we are like Tanzania. Anybody can rise up the ladder and pick position of leadership. Now, the narrative and the conversation around Kenya at the moment, for the last few days, it has been that everybody wants to climb Mount Kenya, right? And they have always said that now we are meeting as Mount Kenya. There's Limuru 1, I don't know, there's Limuru 2 coming up. And for some reason, all the political parties within Mount Kenya are coming together, and they're saying that the issues of Mount Kenya will have to be put on the table. And they're saying that now, us as Mount Kenya, we are going to say this is what we want, right? Now, with that kind of narrative at the moment, then of course now, even if you go back to the TP Ruto, who was saying that he wants a national party, but he spends more time going to churches within Mount Kenya as opposed to any other place, it tells you something. So I know, yes, we want to get there. We want to get to a point where our politics is not so much about the tribes and what the tribes want. The how is when we develop the parties so that the parties cut across whichever side. But as long as that is there, the narrative that Kuria is bringing on board, that is Kuria. But if you go even to the smallest counties, like I told you, counties, if you go to, the narrative is different. There are clans now saying, your clan took this, our clan is the largest, our clan is the one controlling this, we now want the governor. So most of the governorship has been controlled within clans, you know. So if one clan has taken governorship, the other clan takes deputy and the other clan takes the Senate, and so forth and so on. So that same narrative on the ground is now being brought into the national stage. I think what we need to appreciate is that Kuria is telling us what we are, all right? But now what you're saying is we need to start saying, what kind of conversation do you want to go moving forward? Do you want to align ourselves and demand as a tribe? You know, like the other day we are saying Western people are meeting. Of course, Western people will make demands. The other day we said we had Kisi people meeting. They will make their demands. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, what you're saying is an ideal place to be at, but we must develop institutions that will get us there. If we don't have institutions that can get us there, then we are still going to be having to go around the Mount Sinai for about, I mean, for 40 years. Is it 40 years or something? We have to be in the wilderness for a while.
Historically, what you're saying is the abuse of political parties is part of our history. Okay. In fact, one of the reasons why political parties don't thrive in Kenya is the abuse that historically we have caused them. KANU was once a vibrant party, but what happened? The dictatorship and the predetermined results of elections rocked it to a place whereby the party leader was now whoever he points is whoever gets the seat, from the list, from the ward to the National Assembly. And so the abuse of political parties in Kenya is part of our culture. And I would that we should push for a change. Now, like I'm happy about the independent seat. If political parties are the problem, we do away with them. Let's have everybody on the ballot and let Kenyans decide, regardless of their political affiliation. And if that is going to give us a leader who is going to help the country develop, so be it. But we cannot say that because our default mode allows some abnormalities to be accepted as normalities, and we need to live by it. The more we tolerate it, the more it stays, and the more it stays, the more it continues to pinch and cause us pain. It is sad that 60 years of independence, we are still talking about food security, we are still talking about illiteracy, we are still talking about healthcare, we are still talking about the basics of things. We have not fixed anything. I think as young emerging leaders, we need now to arise and go beyond that. And if we can push a right narrative whereby the demand for right leadership at the top, whereby the stakes are so high. For example, the issue of Chapter 6, it was pushed out, it was taken to the Supreme Court. Then the next thing we saw was threat letter to the Chief Justice. He must rule it this way or else his life is in danger. We seem to be so much caught up into impunity to an extent whereby we would rather compromise a law than let the law determine the path. Now we need a leadership that can streamline the country whereby we are all placed on the rule of the law And if you don't comply with the law takes you to where you belong. If we can't get that kind of way of operating, then let's prepare to live the way we have been, and it will never get better. It will never get better. So let us wake up and appreciate the fact that our tribes are not our enemies. Our tribal strength should not be used as weapons. They should be used as resources for national development. What I'm hearing from Moses Kuria is weaponizing the tribe strength so that it can provide for me a larger cake, regardless of who is going hungry, regardless of who is not getting health care, regardless of who is not getting right education. Now that cannot be tolerated in today's Kenya. Let's push a bar higher. Let people come to national office with national agenda, not village agenda.
And Nani, the way the hypocrisy is when we hate the BBI, the issue of 1 man, 1 shilling, the issue-based things that were supposed to help his people, like the 70, how many constituents were they to be added? Okay, they say 70, some say they are less. But again, for me, if he championed for that, then I could see that Kuria had interest of Mount Kenya. But refusing to champion for issues that were to support Mount Kenya and just call for top positions, and they were the same guys camouflaging in the Hustler Nation telling us that they are not about positions. They end up even asking for more positions. It's a hypocrisy of the highest order.
So we can move on now. You say we're going to? Omoke?
Omoke, yeah.
Yes.
Hi, thank you guys. First of all, I want to say I've not been with you for the last 1 week. I was taken ill, been battling corona. As you can see, I'm in the house, just left hospital yesterday. And I'm in isolation.
Oh, pole.
Yeah,
I hope you are doing better.
Yeah, I'm doing very better.
Pole.
Yeah, asante. So
you are not supposed to be talking. Unaweza kusambaza corona na kuongea. I'm kidding.
Ambia avae mask.
To sanitize microphone.
I'm all alone in the house, so it's just fine.
Well, I'm kidding. It's okay.
Go ahead.
Asante, I wanted to contribute on the Kuria sentiment. And I think it is now they are getting into the reality of what the president was intending to do with BBI. It is so, to me, Kuria is very dishonest. In the first place, the conversations of what community A, community B, community C will get when negotiations of forming next government is going on, these are the things that are not supposed to be put in public. From Kenyatta, we came to Moi, we came to Kibaki, we came to Uhuru Kenyatta now. We've never been given details of what is shared to certain region or certain communities. These are things that are kept private, not to incite other communities against other communities. I think Kuria is trying to bring this issue to be motive to incite the mountain. I think it's not to be supposed to be that way. Number two, if you look keenly, the main point is to incite the people of Mount Kenya against anybody who intends to become president in 2022. You know, these are conversations that can be maturely be done in private. You can go and negotiate with William Ruto in private as a mountain. You can go and negotiate with Raila Odinga in private. You can negotiate with all the presidential candidates in private, but you should not put details like that in public,
demanding so on. So if you demand 40% of cabinet, how many communities are you leaving out? What will be left for the Luyas, you know, who are almost equal strength with the mountain? You know, where are you leaving the Luos, who have been in the opposition for the last 60 years? You know, who are almost now smelling state house. Where do you leave the Kambas? What are you leaving with them? These are conversations that should be done in private, not to be done in public. Let me go to my first point. Kuria is being dishonest. And the last people to speak about equal distribution of resources and how the government of 2022 will look like, nobody from the wheelbarrow movement, anybody from the wheelbarrow family should not speak about the space, because one, the president knew where he was leaving the mountain. I think probably the president brought, what is important to the mountain is not positions in government. What is important to the mountain is the resources, is the unfair distribution of resources. I've been saying time and again, you cannot give Juja constituency, which is almost 5 constituencies, it is so unfair when you give Juja 140 million, you move away to Garissa town where Duale comes from, you give the same constituency 140 million, you know, and you expect the member of parliament from Juja to disburse the bursary, to do development, compared to Aden Duale in Northeastern. What we are saying is the president realized there is an inequality he wanted to address. One, he was leaving a polarized community. You know, the president in his own design, when I analyze him, he has clearly put the mountain into a conversation that they are not discussing about how they are getting the presidency. The president wanted them to discuss how are they able to get resources, because they have had the presidency for the last 40 years. But the problems they are facing is the problems other communities are facing. The president is the only clever person who has realized it is only resources that can transform the mountain. That is why the president brought the BBI, and BBI was promoting 70 constituencies to Mount Kenya. That translates to 1.2 billion, you know, in terms of CDF, you know. On top of that, the president was creating a solid representation, elective representation in the National Assembly and in Senate. By adding 70 members of parliament coming from Central, the president knew very well is putting a very solid bargaining platform at the National Assembly, where legislation and policies are being formalized. You know, Kuria, in his wheelbarrow thinking, they opposed BBI. They rejected BBI. I think somewhere I was in the house when I was looking some videos, Jeremiah Kioni telling the people somewhere in town that any president who is coming, we want to negotiate with that president how we are going to get the 53 billion we lost that you were supposed to get with BBI. I think the only sober mind and the only person the mountain should listen is anybody who's negotiating resources on behalf of the mountain. If it is about positions, the mountain has gotten position enough than any other region in this country. But where are they? They are battling the same problems the Wazungus left for us. You know, So to me, number two, I have heard someone saying Kuria was answering the DP. Kuria was negotiating with the DP. Now, fine. Today, the DP will tell Kuria, yes, I will give you the DP, and yes, I will give you 40% ambassadorial, and yes, I will give you 40% PSS. You know, what if the deputy president, what if he is not going to make it to State House? And someone else that you didn't enter into a contract with gets into State House. For example, Kuria is so passionate about William Ruto. If I was William Ruto, I will quickly tell them, whatever demands you have, I have accepted. You want me, in my own thinking, I know William Ruto. For those who don't subscribe to his way of politics, he might not make it to State House, because even from how we speak, there is nothing presidential in the speeches he is making all over the country. You know, the president is a symbol of national unity. You should not be looked at someone who wants to demean a certain age group, who wants to demean a certain community, who wants to demean a certain class in this country. You must be looked at someone who is able to bring all sets on all people together in one basket called Kenya. You know, that is why, to me, I believe from how he speaks, he might not make it to be president. So if Ruto bargains with Kuria about getting the DP position, you know, if they have had Uhuru Kenyatta since 2013 to 2017, those are 10 years. Let's say, for example, the terrain in this country could not allow Kenyatta and Kibaki to do certain things for the mountain. Kuria was there when Uhuru Kenyatta became president in 2013 up to now. Surely, if the mountain has not changed with Uhuru Kenyatta as president, how do they think that the mountain is going to change when they get number 2, if it has not changed when they have number 1? You know, we should not bank the hopes of the mountain for leaders who are just looking. Kuria knows very well, if I negotiate with the William Ruto about the DP position, then I'm better placed to be the deputy president. But he's not addressing the underlying issues that are facing the mountain. The issues that are facing the mountain is an equal distribution of resources and underrepresented. You know, they are not well represented in Senate and National Assembly. That is why when they took the revenue bill in the National Assembly, it was shot down. You know, because that bill was meant to support the people of the mountain. They were shot down because they had no numbers. You know, the president cleverly, you know, knowing very well the issue of having the presidency is emotive. Let me look for another way to supplement what my people of the mountain can get silently, and then leave away the presidency to go. But people like Kuria, they don't see that. You know, that is why, to me, I call the submissions of Moses Kuria to be so dishonest. You know, I think with those few remarks, I will not speak much today. I have made my submissions. I think if anyone has a question, is able to ask me.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we move forward. Can we hear from Eric? Unmute, Eric.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know my mic. I can still hear Omoke speaking. Some echo.
That means it means you are watching from YouTube and you are in studio. So you must stop one of the mute the YouTube. You can close the YouTube because both studio and YouTube are working. Are you okay up to there? He has closed himself from studio. Okay, when you come back, Wekesa.
You have given. It's hard to teach.
Don't worry.
He has locked himself in the house.
I'm a Bible teacher, but
Yes.
this other one is difficult. All the same,
Yes.
we will come back. We are anticipating him.
Yeah, I
So,
just want to say, Dennis, you have, I think you have done well. I wish you quick recovery, Bana. You have really diagnosed that issue. I
yes, our Eric is back.
Yeah, I'm
So,
back.
good. We can now hear you. Are you okay there?
Yeah, I'm okay now. I'm okay. Okay, first.
Just a minute to Wekesa was finishing a sentence, then you pick up.
Okay.
Ama Wekesa ulimaliza.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Eric to come, but I was just saying the mountain has had more than enough in terms of leadership. For right now, they should focus on policies. BBI was giving them the right menu, but they opposed it. So they just need to go back and see where they missed, pick up, and then, like Jeremiah Kioni is guiding them, transform them into manifesto. So whoever has the right manifesto that addresses those issues, let them pick him to be their presidential candidate. Positions have never helped them. They are the ones in front telling us Maliza Uende.
Eric, go ahead.
Okay. First, yeah, can you hear me?
Clearly, go ahead. We can hear you very well.
Okay, first I'm going to start with you, Bernard, because I heard you saying, yeah, we are the lawyers and we have numbers too, right? But I don't think you have numbers because your numbers are on the menu, not on the table. Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm talking in terms of the census. We are the second.
In terms of the census,
those are numbers.
But
we don't. Well, if that means vote, then we are talking about two different things. But if it's just numbers, we have the numbers.
Yes.
Carry on. Go ahead. Yes.
Oh my. Okay. So you have numbers, but they are not helpful to your community. Yeah, I'm saying you have numbers, but they are not helpful
for Kenya.
to your community.
Prove how they are not helpful.
Okay. Let me explain. Let me explain. For example, you have Mudavadi and Baba. Okay, Mudavadi and Baba. So when Baba brings his ODM member of parliament, okay, you find some of them are from Kakamega and from maybe Vihiga. I don't know those parts very well, right? I don't know if they are some from Goma. When you come to Ruto, maybe in 2022, you'll find Ruto has numbers from most of the counties in central Kenya, right? So those member of parliament, if in case Ruto go for negotiation, yeah, maybe if there's a Liran or something like that, yeah, he is negotiating even in terms of all those MP in Mount Kenya. So their numbers are not helping them at all. Okay, so that's what I try to mean. I'm saying you are just in the menu, you are not on the table, and that's why you see in 2013, I don't know, in 2013, when Mudavadi came to Jubilee, he thought he was going to be the presidential candidate. But these people, Ruto and Uhuru, they had done their calculation and seen, this thing is like we are winning. We just need to add some few top up. And Uhuru wanted to step aside, but if he could have stepped aside, he could have remained irrelevant in Mount Kenya region, and that's why even his reaction after that was very vigorous. Yeah, he talked about this. I don't know who is Shetani, so that Mudavadi knew he's not going to win the votes. Okay, he was just coming to divide Baba votes. Yeah, Baba votes, and now what Jubilee did was to actually the kind of a statement the Jubilee came with, in which the president said huyu shetani sijui nini, so that he can speak vigorous and their community can be very angry and vote Mudavadi because they are saying, oh, this is one of our own and what. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, when you start saying we as Ruyas, we don't have votes. Yeah, that's my reasoning. Okay, and I'm not yet finished. Okay, can I continue?
Just continue. I will respond later.
Okay,
Just
okay,
carry on.
okay. Okay, the other thing I want to speak, maybe I saw the topic was about, I don't know, Moses Kuria, 40%. Okay, yeah. So, for example, politics to me in Kenya is about regional interest and a bit of tribal, more of tribal. But however, we have a constituency of young people from the age, most people like saying from 18 to that 5. But for me, I would say 18 to 29. Okay, 18 to 29. So for that one, I cannot say it's about more of tribal. But if it's about the others, I can say above 30, I can say it's tribal in a way. Or personal interest. If not tribal, is personal interest. Okay. First, during the time of Moi, if you ask most of the counties in Mount Kenya, what they used to know Moi more, yeah, it was about milk. Okay, not the issue of about roads and those kind of things. They were very rare. But right now, actually, the people of Mount Kenya should be saying thank you to Baba. They should be saying thank you. They should be very thankful because imagine, I don't know if it's in one budget. I'm not so much political, but based on the way sometimes I tune in to mainstream media and I get a bit of some interest in politics. Okay. Okay, it's just some echo. Okay, so I was saying the Mount Kenya, they should be very thankful to Baba based on the following reason. One, you can imagine there are these roads like Mau Mau roads. You can check for me is how many kilometers. Right now I'm very far. I don't know how many kilometers. And I think it's within one budget. I'm not sure. It's within one budget. Imagine if those kind of roads were done when Baba was in opposition. Yeah? When Baba was in opposition. What kind of talks? But the people of Mount Kenya cannot see that. Okay? They expect the president to bring everything according to the way they are being ignited and being excited by the maybe those Hasra nation. Okay? Yeah, and the president also is not explaining to them because in case he explain, maybe he's going to be seen as a tribal, is not the symbol of national unity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my take. That's my thinking.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's my take.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Okay.
We appreciate your contribution. Just for me to respond, you mentioned me on the issue of the Luya vote. The Luya
Yeah,
numbers.
I agree. We should be more of nationalists. But sometimes I see it's like tribal come first, according to that age.
Hold on.
Okay.
One of the things that help this country is our ability to not preset the outcome of an election. My understanding of democracy is personal opinion put together to see who has national support. Just like when you are running for prefect in high school, okay? Each class will vote, but you will not go and say, I'm going to block 1A, 1B, 1B, they must vote for me. Then I'll go and combine 4T and 4S, they must vote for me. Then by the time you're going to the ballot, the decision that the school is taking about who is the best suited to be prefect, it's no longer the voice of the students, it is the prearranged arrangement. Na ndio ile Kuria anasema mkinipatia mkate 40%, nitawaletea kura kwa kikapu niwapatie. So at the end of the day, what we are silencing is the voice of the common Kenyan. Which Themba was referring to as the ideal situation. The ideal situation is where everybody leaves their house with their one vote, okay? And let that vote be heard. I decided this way. Not that I wanted to vote this way, but our community was voting this way. So I'm doing what my community wants, not what I want for the country. So we defeat democracy by prearranging it and blocking it and making it regional. When the purpose of the county government, especially, or devolution as a whole, was meant to address that. That is, when it comes to regional decisions, let the counties within that region discuss those matters. But when it comes to national matters, let only the national people come to the national platform and make national decisions. Whereby in Kinangop, there is plenty of warus, okay? Viazi zimetolewa, cabbage ziko mingi, kila kitu. Then go down to Kwale. People are dying of hunger. There is drought. There is lack of that. So what national government stands a better chance to do what? Get market for the cabbages in Kinangop and make sure that the people in Kwale are not going hungry. So the national government is supposed to facilitate the movement of products and people within the country. It is not meant to be something that put me in office, then I will serve the 5 years serving only your interest. At whose expense? Tukilipa ushuru, tunalipa wote kama Waluya. Everybody pays, okay? The whole of Kenya pays taxes. Then when the taxes reach at the central bank, we say that this region did not vote for me. It is this region that did what? Voted for me. So the development agenda will be taken to this particular region. Why are we paying a bill for the meal we are not taking? You get my point? So as a people, we need to move to a place whereby national decisions are done nationally, regional decisions are done regionally for the profiting of both. But if we galvanize regions so that we go and hunt for national office, then that national office serves regional interest. We defeat the purpose of national office. Even that aspect you're talking about, the president being a symbol of national unity, he just remains a symbol. He ceases to be a function that is supposed to ensure that nobody in Kenya, the least to the greatest, misses to get access to government services, no matter where they come from. If we succeed in doing that, and the only way to succeed in doing that is let the mountain open up the way it is opening. Yes, let the mountain open up, let the Rift Valley open up, let the coast open up so that anybody can be president without prearranging the outcome of an election. Oh, Dennis, you ulinyanyua mkono, uko na swali?
Yeah, I wanted to contribute on the issue of Western Kenya. My brother Eric brought it up, and I saw it wise to just, if I can say a word or two. Bwana Eric, in 2013, the Luhya votes, in my own understanding, the Luhya votes are not that tied to the community. We have had a presidential candidate from the Luhya nation, whereby someone from outside the Luhya nation came in and defeated the Luhya candidate. I think if there is a democratic region, if there is a community that doesn't look necessarily into their tribe, if there is a region that looks about who is able to bring this, who is able to bring this to our place, I think probably we should award the Luhyas. For the first time, let's go back to 2007, where after the post election and what have you happened, and there was a government of national unity. The presidential candidate of CORD at that time awarded more positions than even his community to the people of West into cabinet. That is almost the time we had almost 20 ministers, and nearly 8 came from Western Kenya. I think probably if it is a conversation of positions, the ones that Kuria is negotiating now, Raila Odinga had done it in 2007, and it didn't help the people of Western. Because if you look, they are battling the problem of their sugar. They have a sugar belt that does not benefit the community because maybe there has never been infrastructure and maybe government support. Even having people in government and even having people operating as government machineries, they have been battling the same problems. So my brother, what I can just tell you is other communities, like the communities where we come from. I come from Kisii region. We don't care who becomes a minister because we know we are given only one. We are only given one cabinet minister. It is not about what we are getting in cabinet. It is about what is that government able to do for us. You know, like right now we are battling the issue of the cost of fuel. You know, this cost of fuel cuts across the country. It is not about community A, it is not about community B. You know, when the cost of this fuel goes up, all the products, oil products, become expensive, and we share the same problem. So my brother Eric, it is not about positions. It is even not about numbers. You know, in these elections, people have been sworn in with Kamusi. It is believed so. I'm not making that allegation, but I'm just saying it is not about numbers. You know, it is not a coalition between community A and community. Watu wameapishwa paka saa moja ya usiku against the constitution. You know, if it is about a coalition between this community and that community, ask yourself, Kibaki was alone in 2007. You know, he didn't have any community. He only had the Kikuyus. You know, here is where we had Raila Odinga with all the communities and maybe what they had agreed, but they never managed to get to State House. We know what happens in this country. It is high time. To me, Bwana Bernard, I believe the first assignment of the next president, which I believe the next president will never and is not going to come from the mountain. Now, this is going to be a better opportunity for us to fix the electoral process in this country, so that we are not told it is 4 years, the OT for people are still asleep. They have never opened the server. We should not be treated to the same issues after 2022. We want elections that are very, that are accountable, elections that are free and fair. That is the assignment of the next president. And I'm praying, I'm not campaigning for Raila Odinga, but I'm praying that he be the one to oversee those reforms, because he is the one who has been affected the most. He knows what to fix, so that we were not told that people get to the office with 54.6%, so that people, like, we need to fix this country. The problems of this country is not about representation. The problem about this country are only two. To me, the problems about this country are only two: corruption, and mismanagement of elections in this country. Because if we manage the elections in this country very well, we will get the right leaders in office who will think upright, who will not think about supporting a cause that sponsored them to parliament when they were never supposed to be in parliament. We should not be supporting people because, like, right now, let me speak. I have been telling you, Bernard, I was in the campaign team of the president in 2007 as a youth representative. I was in a campaign in Mbele Iko Sawa, where our patron was Moses Kuria and Amos Kimunya. I moved with Amos, with Amos and Moses, the whole country. But I can tell you the problems we are having right now is that we had within Jubilee Party, there was a Ruto factor that people are afraid to talk about. Ndindi Nyoro, there's nothing special about Ndindi Nyoro and William Ruto. The only thing that brings Ndindi Nyoro close to William Ruto is because he would have not made it to parliament had William Ruto not handed him the nomination of Jubilee. The reason as to why Waititu died with William Ruto against the president is because Waititu would have not seen the gates of the governor position in Kiambu had it not been William Ruto shortchanged, the Uru's men for his 2022 ambitions. So we are getting leaders who are puppets. You are supporting a certain candidate because this candidate supported me to get to, you are not supporting this candidate because I think, Bernard, the honest conversation we should be having going forward, the person the enemy of the mountain as we speak, the enemy of the mountain as we speak is anybody who denied the mountain to get their share of BBI. Bwana Eric, if we want to have this conversation, this is the conversation we should be having. Eric, are we together? Yes. I think, Bernard, I've made my submissions. You'll give probably Wekesa time now to carry on from there.
Maybe I can say I agree with you with the people fight because of the, you said there were two first.
I talked about the problems that are ailing this country.
Corruption first. I agree. That one I agree 100%. The other one I would say is resources. I would say is our national resource, our national cake. Okay, I think it's unfairly, it's not equitable to all. I would say those are the main thing. Actually, I'm not saying I support this and this, but in my observation, saying the president we need is a president who can fight corruption. Just that first. Yeah, because I would say the Kenyans, the lives that they live is not livable. It's not worthy.
Can William Ruto fight corruption?
I don't think he. I think he can't. He can't. He can't. He can't. He can't. He can't.
Now, you people are beginning to. We were at Moses.
It's not good to be personal, but I think. I'm not sure. I think he can't. The probability of him fighting corruption is less than a zero.
He's on record, okay, saying corruption is not a problem. So if somebody does not see corruption as a problem, how can he fight it? He's asking the impossible. So if we want to get rid of corruption, let us not leave the country in the hands of one person who doesn't see corruption as a problem.
So for me first.
Yes, Eric?
Okay, for me first, I think we need a leader who has Kenyans, all the Kenyans in their hearts, like the way the president, the Chinese president do. Yeah. So people, it's very hard. Actually, you cannot get in somewhere in China, people living the way Kenyans live in slums. Actually, you find there are some ghost cities that no one stays there, bigger than Nairobi. No one stays there just for the future, you see. But in Kenya, you see the kind of slums and all those congestion because people believe they are coming to look for the resources within the cities and urban areas, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we just need a leader who has Kenyans in their hearts. Yeah.
Mr. Bernard, let me add Bwana Eric something of a leader this country needs. We have had liberation struggles in this country. We have had the multi-party liberation movement. We have had a movement that was championing for electoral reforms in 97. We have had a liberation movement that was fighting to remove KANU and dictatorship from this country in 2007. In 2002, we have had a liberation struggle, to bring a constitution in this country in 2010. To me, the next president should come from these movements. Anybody who has stood strongly with the fight to liberate this country from dictatorship of KANU, who has fought for this country to get a new constitution, who has fought for this country to get space for multi-party. We need a president who comes from that circle. And as we speak, I think this is Mr. Bernard, we should not be told that we should not personalize our submissions. I can speak against another candidate and somebody else can come and speak good about him. I want to ask any member, any panel, and I want to, tomorrow I'll be here very early, so that we discuss about the journey of 2022. And I believe you're going to give us that topic. I want anybody who supports William Ruto or who supports anybody in the wheelbarrow movement to kindly tell us what has William Ruto fought, how and where and when, and what has William Ruto fought for this country since independence. There are people, Bernard, who even saw they cannot fight Moi. They wanted to overthrow him through a coup, Those people had Kenya at heart. They knew this person we are not going to defeat him in the ballot. Let us remove him through the military force. Those people were jailed. There are people in this country who have been jailed for 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, only because they are fighting for this country. I want these people, anybody who supports William Ruto, to tell us any struggle William Ruto has fought for this country, except to disappear with Kimwarel and Aror. Thank you so much, Bernard.
Well put, Dennis. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eric. Wekesa, are you still there?
Yeah, I wanted to respond to a few issues Eric raised. Eric is my namesake.
And I think we should begin to bring the curtain down.
Yeah, one, I wanted to tell him that he needs to look carefully at the history of Luhya nation. First of all, we are one of the people who resisted the colonialists. So we have been strong from the word go. And then before even the whole what we call the opposition politics came in, we are the first people who registered the first party called Ford under Masinde Muliro. And it's just maybe by misfortune that we lost him a few months to election. We would have had maybe the first opposition president from the opposition side from him. So at that time we were one. Then it came to 2002. All of us, we were one under the umbrella of late Wamala Kichana. So it doesn't mean that we have never had a history of being one. When you find a community is united under one leadership, it's because you have a strong leadership. But if you don't have a strong leadership, chances are that people will be divided into very many segments. So the challenge we are having right now is we don't have a strong leadership. It doesn't mean that the community cannot speak one language. We have spoken one language in several occasions when the nation needed us to speak one language. Even when you look at the constitutional moments, we have spoken in one language. And so we have demonstrated that. Just as for the current politicians, it's not the problem with the community, but it is them who are not giving a strong signal of their intent to be the next commanders in chief. So when the leaders are not giving a strong signal, then the community will be left to make choices. So right now we are making choices with the people who have a strong signal that they want to be the next CEO. But with the time, God is raising great leaders in the Luhya nation. We are seeing them coming up, and they will fill the gap that the Muliro and Wamala Kichana left. So that's not a problem. It's just a matter of time. But while we are still nurturing our own, we can still support others. Wamala Kichana left us with one saying, that it's good to learn to hold the ladder for others to climb up, so that when they come up also they can hold the ladder for you to climb. I know when we talk about Mount Kenya, there are many angles. There are also Ameru who have been holding the ladder for the Kikuyu nation. There are also the Aembu who have been holding the ladder for that. And we need to appreciate that we are talking about Mount Kenya being big because there are other communities also which have been holding the Kikuyu nation. So if they can stand alone, they can't go anywhere. Just as in Western, Luos and Luyas and Kisis have been working together for a common good, and we appreciate that also as an emerging bloc. So I thought I should just intervene on that. Otherwise, for the main topic, I had already made my contribution, and I beg to leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Wekesa, for that well-covered information. And going forward, let us focus for a better Kenya. As much as we would want to get our regional interests taken care of, a better Kenya means better life for all Kenyans. And if there is any reason why I even dive into political matters, is for that. A Kenya that takes care of every Kenyan. And traditionally, we seem not to have never had that. We had that as a foundation of our country, initially by our founding fathers. But tribal interests and personal interests got the better part of it and destroyed it before it took off. So we are yet to really actualize the dream of our founding fathers. And so it is only in that finding that dream that every Kenyan will be proud to be a Kenyan. And it has been a long struggle, but I believe we are closing in onto a better conclusion for this country. And we need to push that. And so as young leaders, wherever we find ourselves, whatever space you find yourself, be it in the church world, in the political world, in the education world, in the business world, let us be able to help our brothers to begin to appreciate that if every Kenyan will be productive, Kenya will be first world within no time. The problem we have in Kenya is that we have very few people productive, the rest are consumers. And the moment we have a larger population consuming with a less population working and being productive, there is no way we can break the poverty cycle. But if we will get every Kenyan to be productive, our resources, we talked about lands. We have masses of lands that are just being protected and watched over. Those resources need to be put to use, make them produce. We wouldn't be importing maize, importing milk, we are importing eggs. Why should we be doing that? And so as a people, we need to begin to ask right questions. Other than us fighting for the 20 slots of cabinet and 20 slots of parastatal and all that, let us ask, this mass land that is not in use, whose is it? Why is it bare? What is the country profiting from it? If the owner doesn't want to put it to use, let him pay for it to keep it that way, so that from that money we can buy the maize we need to feed our country. And so let's avoid the politics of conflict. Let us avoid the politics of taking advantage of any community or any people. Everyone matters. Everyone's life matters. And so it's that way that we can go forward. So I will leave that as my closing remark. Eric, if you have something you can say, we are calling it a day.
Okay, I don't have much to say, but in my final remarks, I can say, let's, as Kenyans, they should address long-term solution and not the short terms. They should stop saying just from here or today and tomorrow. They should see the future and the future of the Kenyans. Because when leaders ask for the position, it's Kenyans who take them there on top, and they just come and bribe you, and you pay and you go and vote according to the bribe. I would say according to what you have been given, but there is a future, so they should see ahead. Because sometimes I just look at the way our slums look like, and I'm like, do we have leaders? And you ask them, why did these people came to these slums and they continue building? Yeah, why? Because maybe they are coming to look for jobs. Yeah, so the government should make sure in those rural areas there is enough jobs. Yeah, because you see, like Dubai is a desert. Like you can imagine the amount of money Kenya spends just for general election, and they don't have the forest. yeah, for those ballot papers. Really, are we a serious country? I don't think so. I don't think we are a serious country. I don't think so. If we come to the youth, the internet in, I won't say Kenya, but I would say in Africa, it's very expensive. So that means they are not helping the youth. Yeah. Yeah, because in the future you can say the social media is the way to go, not the mainstream media. Yeah, I would say the government, they should check the internet should be at a affordable cost. Yeah, because like where I am, you can just guess anywhere you see a building, a shop, a hotel, a restaurant, you just guess the password is 888 or 123 up to 8. Yeah, so the internet is everywhere. Yeah, there's no charge. So the government should check those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah, that's my final take. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. And those who are viewing, we want to appreciate Felista Kigubu. Thank you so much for joining us. Gilbert Washira. We have Thomas Ogega. And then who else here? We really appreciate all of you that are keep joining us and are faithful followers of Mtembei TV. Francis, thank you so much. We salute you. We want to appreciate, there is Engineer Eric Mrithi. Thank you so much for joining us. PG Games, thank you so much. Asili 2 TV, thank you. You are a constant viewer of this particular channel. Benson Ainea, thank you so much. God bless you. We have Asego Omune. God bless you. Then we have Comedy Shows. Godson Molel, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you. We are Maurice Otieno, Kipto Paul, Martin Cheriot. Thank you for making this a success. We have Emerge Kenya TV. Thank you so much. And then there is Robert Malay, a constant viewer. Thank you so much, and participant in this show. Omondi Chakano, thank you. I really appreciate all of you that have stayed with us to the close of this show. I will look forward to doing this. Please continue sharing it with everybody in your life. And let us ensure that Kenya moves forward by better ideologies and proper articulation of right leadership. God bless you. See you in the next show.